All right, we live again.
Well, we now. So yeah,
Right. So I'm not
And
sure
we
where
live
I
again.
left off.
we was talking about the
But
I
hold
election.
was
on.
talking to Joe
Hold on.
Jackson
Everybody
Jr.
give
Let me
Lord a eye.
apologize for that.
Give Lord a eye.
My bad. I
How
want to
dare you?
apologize for ending the live, but we back, everybody. My
Laura,
apologies. Hope they all tune back in. Sorry.
I'm right to your ass, girl.
Laura, you're
That
fired.
was a bunch of. Oh no, that was
But
them all
Christina,
that
last
in that one.
last thing I remember Christina saying was,
Right.
could we be
Can
mad
you
at Trump
blame
for,
him?
you know,
Yeah. So
yeah.
Joey, can you blame him for wanting to do all of these extra things to see if he really won? Because not to throw it out there, and I don't want to be that
that's how
person
you.
that's always like, "Oh my God," off of every video, but I seen a certain video. We're not gonna talk about it because
No, we're gonna talk about
I know it's
everything.
a dangerous thing for us to even have it,
We're gonna talk
but
about
there
everything.
was a
We're gonna talk about
situation
everything.
involving somebody, and
But that's the
So can you
thing.
blame him for wanting to do these things, Joey?
Can I blame him?
Yeah.
Can I blame him? Yes, because you don't know if that's
No,
actually true.
no,
You
no. I
don't
don't
know
blame him
if
because.
they are going to sit there
Yeah.
and everybody's going to think, but he doesn't want to lose. He's going to cry. No matter what he does, he's going to
But do
not
you
want to
think that's
lose.
media's perception? Do you think that that's what, because at the end of the day, that's what everybody is saying about him. Like, oh,
You still
he's a
live?
sore loser. He's not
Hmm?
going to
You still
accept his
live?
Yeah.
defeat and this, and that. So
Are
it's
you muted?
like,
But it's the same thing
no,
Al
you're not
Gore
muted.
did.
I can hear you, Laura. It's just you keep lagging. Like, I hear you
Al
say a
Gore,
word, but then it's like, it stops.
Al, yeah, but Al Gore in 2000,
But I can't
I think
leave.
it
I
was
try to leave, and I
2000.
can't leave without ending it, unless
Yeah.
Boo Boo kicks me out and I come back in.
Um,
Or
what
maybe
So
I
at
can
the
go back.
happened?
bottom of your screen, it doesn't have the option to leave.
No, it only
Yes,
has
but if she leaves
option
the
to end.
studio, yeah,
That is the only thing option
because
to
she
end.
started a live. She started a live, so
Hold
it's
on, let me
it's connected
see.
to her thing.
See, it won't let. It don't even.
But
Even if I click on myself, it don't give me the option. Oh, hold on, remove from stream.
so
And
I
it's
feel
still
that
live. All right.
I feel like he's gonna cry no matter what. Al Gore did the same thing to George Bush. Oh, we need to recount Florida. We need to recount Florida. Excuse me. They recounted Florida, but it didn't change the election. It didn't change it.
Am I
You
still
want
So
to?
lagging?
wait, because George Bush won the electoral vote, right?
Yes, yeah.
Am I
It
still
didn't
lagging?
change. No,
Am I still lagging?
No, I hear you.
no.
No, I hear
I
you.
hear you now.
Okay,
So
so can I say something? I wanted to say something when y'all was all talking.
Go
that
ahead. Go ahead.
Listen, um, first of all, I don't want Trump in office. Let me start by saying that. However, I don't think what he's doing is wrong because I was paying attention to what they were saying on Channel One News the other day,
Hmm?
and they were saying there's a
Oh no.
time frame. Like they, all of them do this. All these presidents do this. There's a time frame they have to file and have everything heard. Like there's a time frame for this shit. So when I realized that, I'm like, oh, if you have a scheduled time frame for it, it's not like they made it up for Trump. It's what they have scheduled. Everything is supposed to be heard. All lawsuits and everything is supposed to be heard by I think I want to
December.
say 20th of
It's in
December,
December.
something like that.
It's in
Something
Yes,
like
December
that.
twenty
sometime.
something
Yes,
of
Yes.
something
December. Yeah.
20th of December, I think it is. And then you have till January something. Like they had a whole
20th.
time frame for this. Yeah, like January 6th or something like that. It was for something else. But that's when I was realizing that this is not just Trump acting up. This is what they all do. So this is
Yeah.
why it's a time frame for this. So he has the right to appeal it. I mean, granted, forget
Other
about
Yeah.
forget
other
about everything that's
presidents.
going on. He has the right to
Other.
appeal and make sure that he's lost. You understand what I'm saying? Because there could be facts to what they're saying. We don't know that. And I'm not saying that I want him back in office or whatever, but this is the highest position in this United
In the
States of
land.
America.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you're not just gonna like, this ain't like, oh,
but
you just beat up some
but
dude and you got your position. That. This ain't what this is. And there
I
could
get
be
what
some
I get.
conflict of interest. So yeah, they should check it
I
out. I'm
I
not
get
saying
what
that I want him back.
I get what Laura's saying, but all those people that have recounted and did things, they conceded already.
Yeah,
They had
but that's what they're
conceded,
doing.
But
but they
The
but
conceded
he's
only
way.
conceded since knows for a fact that he's
No,
lost. But
Macho,
can you
there.
blame him for that?
but
you see
they
he
conceded. They conceded and they said, okay, we lost,
the
but we're still gonna
Yeah,
go do
because
this
they
by
were
the
like,
time frame.
okay, it was a fair loss, whatever the case may be. But
People don't believe
we
it. There's no
we
fair
know Trump,
losses. There's no
huh?
the pro
fair losses in this
the
in the
problem I
election.
have
No fair
the
losses.
the only problem I have with this is like I give it to him. He got you feel some type of way. You got the right to, but the way he's going about it, like he's sitting there saying everybody's rigged against him. It's not everybody's rigged. It's not people rigged against you, my mans. What you gotta understand is his words, and I said it before. His words, no matter how much of a pumpkin and we don't like this man is, his words to the people that follow him mean everything. So he sat there and he said it months ago. Don't mail in your votes because they throw out the votes. So what happened? Early voting, and he even said no early voting. He said
Hmm.
vote on the day of. So what happens
So
is now you got all these Trump supporters going
and
to
then get
every
checked.
fucking mailing spot at one shot. So automatically his numbers jump from 0 to 30,000, just like that. Because they counting the people that came in. They got to bump that line down. Now they
Yeah,
closed down. They got to count all the votes that came in through mail.
yeah.
Hmm.
So when they count the votes that came in through mail, he smoked them by 100,000. An hour later, he's down by 50,000. Another hour later, oh shit, is a 10,000 person lead because there's millions of people that voted through mail. So he sat there
Hmm.
and said, I lost. I was ahead by great, phenomenal numbers. And let's be honest, he only had one state when the shit started. He was only in the lead twice. One time, and one time only had him at 3 points. So
Mm.
when he sat there, he said, I went to sleep. I was up by phenomenal numbers. I wake up and now I'm losing because your people did what you told your people to do.
You're
Hmm.
absolutely right. And
So
That's
history
exactly
he
what
did
they
shows.
that
do.
to himself.
So let me ask y'all this: do you think there's funny business going on?
There's been
There's
funny
always
I
funny
business.
mean,
business. Listen,
listen.
this isn't the first president that sat
Because
there
when you think
and
about
had
it,
his ballot tossed out. I'm pretty sure with Obama, there was plenty of people that threw out Obama's name. I'm pretty sure
no,
with
but
Bush,
that's
there was plenty
but
of
that
people that
wasn't
threw out
early
Bush's
voting.
name.
But that
But
wasn't no mail-in votes. Those weren't mail-in
there,
votes. Those were
Oh, there was
actual
mail-in
people
voting. There was
going.
there
mail-in
was
voting. But
Yeah,
mail-in voting is always
but
around.
let me tell
but
you what they said, and it's something that a lot of people realize. Normal mail-in voting is done by Republicans. More
Yes,
Republicans do mail-in voting.
2 million
That's why
votes.
Trump feels the way he
Uh huh.
feels. Because normally Republicans do the mail-in voting. That's why
He
when you're like,
won.
no,
He
the
tripled his numbers
Republicans didn't
with the
do it.
melon.
Exactly. That's what
In
And
happened.
what he
2016,
tries
he
to do
tripled his
is,
numbers.
but I mean,
because the mail-in voting also comes in through for the
I'll be
military
right back.
too.
So y'all gonna be
So
on hold
Yeah.
for me.
they sit there. So what they do is they sit there and they give a grace period time after election. So like let's say it's 5 days. Whatever mail that comes in within them 5 days after the election day, as long as it's predated before the election day, it counts. What Trump is trying to do is say no, only
Lay
the
right down.
no only whatever came in on the election day counts. Because if he gets that and they don't count the mail-in votes, then he wins because all they do is they count the physical votes. They don't count mail-in votes.
But
But he set himself up for that. He should have had that
he got
everybody
on
doing the best
national
way they
TV.
can.
He got on national TV and said to everybody, like Boo said, national TV got said to everybody, every Republican that supports him, every Republican that supports all the, don't mail it in. And that's exactly what they did. They
but
didn't mail
there
it in.
were mail-in votes from Republican. My question, y'all, I let me re-ask my question. Do y'all
This is
think it's funny business going on in this election involving Donald
no.
Trump?
I think that no. First of all, I think it's funny business regardless.
With the
Without
mail-in
Google,
Mm-hmm.
ballots, you don't think it's funny business? Even after
it's
watching the
always
video I sent you, that was an
Mm.
everybody.
actual
Every
ballot. That was an actual
everybody.
voting
Well,
Listen.
ballot.
Why do you think they got people observing them? Think about it logically. They have people sitting there observing them, and if
They
people
have people,
should,
they're reserved. Listen, they're watching people count the votes. We're not talking about getting the votes to point A to point B so that they can be counted.
and
the
they've been
way the
doing
Nobody's
that
way
for
watching
years.
hold
them.
on, hold on.
But
Nobody's
they've been
The
doing
way
watching
that.
the
them.
vote the way the counting votes work like that is because I didn't know it. My father explained it to me. They have like let's say it's us three, right? I'm Republican, Christina's Democrat, Joey's Independent, right? I sit there, I get a piece of paper,
I'm
right?
back.
Because with the voting is people writing down the name. I get a piece of paper and I sit there, I read it, I say, this one says Trump. What do you say? Christina says it says Trump. So that goes to Trump. Now if I sit there and say this one says Trump and Christina says it says Biden, I look at it again. I still say it's Trump. Christina says she still says it's Biden. We then call Joey, the supervisor. He's the go-between. That's why, like that video that you had with the guy that's ripping up the paper, I fell for it at first, but then I'm like, that may not be 100%, you know, legit.
True. Yeah, it may not be.
Like that
What
was
do
a
you
real,
got?
that was a real ballot. But what if that ballot was like a copy or ballot? You
Because
understand?
that
A
it would
ballot
have
that
been
was
printed
already
out of a
counted.
whole envelope.
I didn't see that. All I see is him with the ballot
I ain't gonna
open,
get too caught
ripping
up.
it.
Nah,
I ain't
I
gonna
saw
get
when he
too
ripped
caught up
it.
in the video. I'm not gonna get too caught
Yeah.
up in the video. All I'm gonna
But
say
stuff
is
like
I didn't even
that.
see the name. I
it
ain't gonna lie to
is.
you.
I do not think
I
when
didn't
it
even see
comes
the
down
name.
to U.S. You said what?
You
That
changed the
she
name
ain't
to
see the
KD.
I
name.
didn't see the name. I just heard him say a name. I heard him say a name, but I didn't see a name.
Yeah, I heard him
Right.
say Trump,
But
and then I saw
I
he
heard him
again,
ripped
say
it.
I'm not
Donald
gonna get
Dummy
too caught up
J
in the
Trump
video.
or some shit like that.
Right. I'm not gonna get too caught up in the video. However, I'm not just gonna sit here and debunk it and just be like, no, that's not what it is.
But
Because
I
again,
do
we
believe that
don't
happens.
know what happens when it comes down to the
What
transportation,
happened?
like the transporting of these votes. Like we don't know what's going on. That's clearly with
No, we
USPS
don't.
system. That's whenever you're counting the votes and you're tallying them. But he
But let
wasn't
me
counting or tallying the votes. That's not what he was doing. His job was to
exactly.
clearly get those votes to where they needed to be. However, he was just going through them shits, opening them up, and you know, oh, this is Trump. Real talk. You know what I mean? Like,
But let me
Mm.
ask you. Let me ask you a question.
mhm.
You think Trump would have been doing
Hmm.
this if it would have been the opposite, or he would have been mad at Biden if Biden would have decided to do it?
But everybody's not after
No.
Biden. Biden is not the
I mean,
target. Biden is the
look.
angel. Cause I put heavy quotations under that shit. He is the angel, America's angel that's supposed to sit here and come save everybody.
No, I think everybody just want Trump out of office, and that was it. But
Listen, Trump is the target.
Yeah.
He is the
the
target.
reason, the reason why I don't feel some type of way about that ballot though, if let's say Biden won by like 10 people, or it was a real close call, it was only 10 ballots, then I could sit there and
Mhm.
say, all right, he didn't win by just 10 ballots, he won by thousands. You're not gonna sit there and tell me thousands of ballots this one person got rid of.
I'm not gonna say it was that one person. However, you
Hold
gotta
on.
understand when you watch that video, you already know what's up. Like you can tell based off of how he was acting, like who he is at the end of the day. And I'm pretty sure there are plenty of people who are just like him. Like it's plenty of people who don't want to see Trump in office
Mm-hmm.
again. And there is plenty of people willing to do almost anything for that to happen. It's yeah, you're right. He wasn't probably the
So do
only
you
one
think
who
that's
did.
what
Well, he
happened?
wasn't the only one who got rid of him, but there are plenty of people with his exact mindset. We need to get him out of office by any means. So I will
And
to
do you
answer
think
my
that's what
question,
happened?
y'all. I don't blame him for wanting to dig a little deeper. I don't blame.
Okay,
I like
but
I don't blame him for digging a little deeper.
the question is that you think he would have dug this deep if he would have won the election?
Again, Trump. Listen, if
No,
Trump
answer
would have
the.
won,
No,
I honestly believe like the people, the United States of America and the world in general. I do believe there would have been a rise of wow. Y'all really like wow, we really finna put up with this shit for 4 more years. Like
yeah, but
I do
that's not the
think
answer to
there would have
the.
been riots and all of
But
that
that's
other
not the
stuff.
answer to the question. The answer to the question is: do you think he would have dug this deep if he would have been the one winning the election?
I'm saying no because he's the
No, because he was already
yeah,
winning. He
I'm
was
saying
ahead, and
no.
he thought
But if he would have left everything,
Boo boo, what happened, boo boo?
if he would, he said his phone was tweaking from the jump. If he would have left it the way Republicans do things in 2016,
But it wasn't just Republicans, Joey.
but it's but
It was the world.
it's
It was what we had to do because of the virus.
yes, but in 2016 when he won against Hillary Clinton, right? Everybody asked me why I didn't vote that election. Same reason I voted this election because I wanted Trump out of office. Because he's
I'm
not
not
built
one of
to
them.
be a
I can't
president.
do that. Yeah.
He's not built to be president. Is Joe Biden built to be
Joe
president?
Biden
I don't.
is though, Joey. Like we can't
I,
say that.
I
Like we
don't
can't
know.
say
I
that
don't
and
know.
just be
I
like,
would, but I didn't get mad when Trump won. I didn't get mad when he won the first 4 years. I didn't get mad in 2016.
mhm.
I said to myself, you have to see how he is. And as he went through his presidency, you tell he's not built to be president. He's
nope.
not built to be president. Now Biden's going to go through 4 years. Let's say Biden goes through the 4 years and he does the same or he does worse than Trump. Then I'm going to believe he was never built to be president.
See, but I can't go all my life in these 4 years of voting to just see who can be a good president and not. Like we're literally
Because
just
the
voting
people,
on faith. Like
the problem
we're
is
voting on
nobody's going
faith.
to put
Oh,
the
we just
great,
gotta see 4 more
nobody's going to
years
put the
of
good
this
candidates.
president.
The reason why we get these shitty ass presidents is what y'all got to remember is
They don't want the good people to be president.
everybody that was a president
People don't want to
was
see
once a
change. I
everybody
agree.
that was once that is a president was once a senator.
Us, yeah.
You want to get some better presidents, you got to vote better senators. Y'all keep on letting the senators go by. They keep on voting in whoever the hell they want. We gonna just get the
I mean,
cream of the
but we
crop that we've
had
been
good
getting.
senators. We had good
We
senators and
have.
we had good
We every
presidential
once in a while we do get
because
them
that still
one
takes
once in a
care of
And
blue,
those
business.
and those are the ones that don't
and
get voted in.
those are the ones that don't
Bernie
get voted in,
Sanders was
like
the
Bernie
perfect.
Sanders.
He was the perfect thing up there. The
Like
perfect
like
person up
let
there.
me tell you something. Until Bernie Sanders dropped out of the race, I sat there. I was all for Bernie Sanders. You know what made me go with Biden was the fact that Bernie Sanders support Biden. Bernie Sanders said me and him got
But
different
that's not
views
really
on
him
certain
saying like
things,
I support
but
him. That's just him saying I support him other than Trump. You know
Now
what
I'm
I
gonna
mean?
play
Like
if
devil's
if
advocate
ain't
here.
nobody gonna
When y'all get a
sit
chance, I'm
down
gonna play
and
devil's
be like,
advocate.
oh,
Okay, Laura, go
he's
ahead.
a
Play devil's
Democratic,
advocate.
so of course he's gonna say Joe Biden.
nah, listen, you be surprised. You'll be surprised. There's a lot of Republicans that sat there and said Joe Biden too.
Ooh.
At the end of it,
Oh, you
I
didn't
don't
see
know
the
their names.
conferences, the
I don't know
Democratic
their names like that.
conferences and the Republican conferences, like the conventions. They had
Mm-hmm.
Democrats and Republicans speaking on behalf of these
Mm-hmm.
candidates.
Hmm.
Okay, but I want to play devil's advocate because it was brought to my attention, so I'm gonna bring it to
Yeah.
y'all's. So the
Oh
other
no.
day, I want to say it could have been Monday or Tuesday. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
Y'all
can
hear
hear.
me? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Monday or Tuesday. Am I lagging?
No, you
kind
Am I
of,
go.
but
lagging?
it's all right.
Now you go.
Okay, so
Go
Monday or
ahead.
Monday or Tuesday.
Tuesday. Um, put me on to this. Somebody's posted a bunch of things that Trump did for for the black community. How he put people in office in high positions. Now I didn't know, so I didn't do my research. I watched the video with her. There was something, but it did bring something to my attention that maybe because even though I'm not for Trump, my reason for not voting for Trump has nothing to do with what he did while he was in office. Let me make that clear. My only reason for not voting for Trump is because of what he did with the COVID situation. I had a problem with what he said. I have a problem with what a lot of people feel about the COVID situation because I went through it. I'm not talking about somebody else's experience. I experienced it myself. So that's where my issue lies with the COVID situation with Trump. So that's
Okay.
where my issue lies
That's
with
fair.
Trump. But if they did bring up a lot of things, they brought up a lot of things and they said that he put a lot of people in positions to do better. Like, a lot of black people in positions for for high positions. Oh, no more.
There's a lot of
He put a
money
lot of black
allegedly
people in high positions. He put a lot of money he gave, yeah, like he gave to
to
communities or whatever like
HBCUs.
that. So I don't know how
Yeah.
true it is. Like I said, I didn't do my research on it. It was just something that they were saying, and they were like, "Well, why would he do that if he was supposedly racist?" Which I agree with. If he was a racist, he wouldn't have did the things he did. They actually had press conferences and videos of him doing these things. Now I don't know about the money, but they had press conferences about everything. Okay, so
Um,
I
that
wouldn't
being
say
said,
that,
I
Lord. I'm
Trump,
trying to play devil's advocate.
Trump. What y'all gotta remember is Trump. At the end of the day, knows how to swindle things. Trump is a boss. We all had a boss that sat there and
yeah,
told us and
He's a
filled our
big
head up
one.
with head and said, "Yo, you know what? You got the potential. You keep on doing what you're doing. You're gonna make big things in the world." And here you are, 2 years later, you're still in the same position. You understand? I've
Yeah.
dealt with that. That's what Trump does. Like right now, there's a lot of people, a lot of my friends who sit there and is like, "Oh, I'd rather Trump still be in office," and I'm like, "You are crazy." And they're saying, "Oh, you got to look at what he did. He did something with he reformed the prisoners or some shit like that." And I'm like, "All right,
Obama did
cool."
that same
They
thing.
they beat me in the head with that, and then I did my research. Okay, let's get this down pat. When he let go of the prisoners, he never let go. He didn't let go anybody that was in there for weed and was serving years worth of sentence. Like that. And then when they come out, their record isn't expunged. They just getting out on an earlier time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they
So if
go
you
off the
had
road.
if you had 10 years, you come out in 5. You still got the same record. You still can't get a government job. You
I
still
mean,
can't vote.
but could he
You
do?
still
But
can't
he
travel.
couldn't do that even
All he
after
did
he
was
got
beat your
out.
time in half.
I mean, but you still couldn't do those things either after the 10 years. So what difference
Even
does it
after
make?
the
You know?
thank you. So what difference did it make? Oh, he let people out a little bit
No,
earlier.
I mean
So
it makes a
now,
difference. Like you're not
so now
saying after
listen.
10 years you was
This
getting out early.
no,
I
but
mean
this is
that
what
is
I'm
kind of
saying.
a good thing,
But this is
but
what I'm saying with him being a smart man. Because these are my same friends. Some of them don't have no felonies. So
hmm
now, because he let some people out that they know that they have felonies and all that a little bit earlier, now they are against Biden. He just fed them a crumb and they expect the whole loaf. So they gonna give
right,
him everything. You
right.
understand? He just beat him in the head. And I'm trying to tell them that and they not understanding. And the reason why I pay attention to things like that is because there was this old movie. It was back in the 60s or 70s where there's these white
hmm
people that
hmm
they're clan members, but they don't say they're clan members. These men are in power, right? And one of the guys, and I think I told you guys about this scene too, um, where the guy's like, "Oh, why would you sit there and give the Negro the power?" That's what he said, the Negro the power, right?
hmm
That shows you about the time it's based on. And the guy sat there and said, "Because you give him a little bit of power, and he'll thank you because he never had nothing. You don't want none of the smart ones in the neighborhood because if the smart ones stay around the dumb ones follow the smart ones, and we want the smart ones on our side." So all they did was give them a little chump change. They took it and ran with it.
I mean, but you can kind of say the same thing with Joe Biden and his situation as far as like electing a black lady to be vice president when it comes down to the black vote. Like at the end of
Mm-hmm.
the day, he gave them what black people he gave Biden gave us what we wanted, and we kind of fell for it. We baited the bait. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day,
We just got to
it's
see how
like
he does.
see, but that's the
Like I
thing.
said,
Like I'm tired of giving new people chances and like them just fucking us over anyway. Like
yeah, but we're
So
never
then you
gonna
know what you
oh
know.
my
do.
god,
So then you know what
it's
you do. This is how you work that out. You
I'm
sit there,
independent.
right? You could do the independent, but the independent would never win. You will always be under Democrat or Republican. The independents never
Always.
win. So what you could
Well,
do
no, that's
is
not true
you could
because
sit there. Mm-hmm.
In Far Rockaway, for a counselor's position, one of the positions, a 20, I believe he's 24.
An
They actually have
independent
a
one.
video of him. Yeah, he independent. He won. The Democrats and the Republicans wouldn't back him. Neither one of them would back him, but his community backed him. He
Hmm.
ran for
I know what
independent,
you're
and
talking
he's
about.
the youngest. He's in Far Rockaway. I was watching the video this morning. Matter of fact, he
Come on, young councilman.
he's like 24,
But
something like that.
no,
He
I'm talking
I
about for
think he's in the
independent
presidency.
Senate.
young too.
No, but I think he's in the Senate. I think he's in the
I'm
Senate or
t-
something like that. Like he's got a decent position, and he's a young guy.
So he
And he
might be
started
enough.
as a kid. He was a part of the Far Rockaway some group in Far Rockaway for teenagers, and he's seen how he wanted to change his community, and he made his business to change his community. And he went to school. He got it, I think, from Queensborough. I can't remember what college they said he went to, but he got his master's and his bachelor. He got his bachelor's and his master's from the college, and he's like 24. And he's angry like nobody, normally independent doesn't win in no position. It doesn't matter what it is. Independent just doesn't win, but he won. So maybe if we get a good independent person, they might win. But they got to be a good independent person. That's the problem.
yeah.
I
Uh,
feel like this. Anytime they do
okay,
the
come on,
election,
young politician.
the primaries, when they do the primaries, the good
Hmm.
candidates are always the ones that have that either drop out first or nobody votes
Hmm.
for.
Yeah. But the
For
problem is,
Well,
instance,
we
this
got
is
to.
what the problem is. They don't have the money that the bigger candidates have. And
Because
so
they
they
Yeah.
don't
don't
accept.
advertise as much. But that also falls on us because when
Mm-hmm.
things are going down, when it comes to voting, like Boo Boo said,
I'm
we
glad
have
you
to put
said
that
that.
effort into voting. We
I'm
also
glad you
have
said
to
that.
sit there and pay attention to other races. The president is one man or one woman, because I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna say because the next one might be a woman. We don't know what the situation is, but it's one person. And there are so many other things that we don't pay attention to that we allow the Republicans to take over, and it's our fault in our communities. We will never get change unless we start to put our effort forward into making change, just like our ancestors did to do what they had to do to get us here. We're not making effort. All we do is we talk about some shit on social media, and then
Yep.
I did my part. You ain't see I
No, we
posted
got
it
to do
three
more than that.
Uh-huh.
times. Exactly. They'll be on the thing. I posted that bitch 3 times. Y'all ain't see that? Yup, I'm about that cause they put a little poster in they profile pic and they think that they doing something. And it's not changing the judges and the lawyers. It's not changing them.
You
All
want to
it's
know
doing is
something
them.
else, Laura?
What's up?
Donating. Donating is a big thing, especially when it comes down
Yeah.
to you know,
But that's why I said with that guy, with that
Yeah.
kid, with that young kid, the donations came from
But you
his
gotta,
community.
but you
It
gotta do
didn't
your
come from
research on
everybody.
who you donated.
Yeah.
You gotta remember these
as
people
long
like Trump have like Republicans and Democrats. They have millions and billionaires on their side that's donating the money to them. What we gotta realize is that at the end of it all, after these 4 years, you know who's gonna be running up next? We don't know who's gonna
we
be
don't
running
know
up
that.
next. I bet you if you focus and you study everybody in the Senate office on the Republican and Democrat sides, in 4 years, you'll recognize some of their names. Though everybody that's in the Senate right now is in position to try to go for presidency.
Yeah.
hmm
They are. Some of them go for it. Some of them go for
Trump
it.
was the
Some of them
only one
don't.
that did that shit. that went
He
just
was
like
the only one
Trump
who
is the only
did
person
it.
that
He was
ran
the
that
only one
never
who
did
did it.
politics.
Yeah.
Exactly. But the reason why he won was because he had a lot of Republicans on his side, and he was a Republican Party, and a lot of rich people, a lot of famous people, a lot of people supported him. What we got to
But I
do is
don't
we
even
got to
think it's
vote the
just that.
senates.
I don't even think it was just that supported. I think it was just that because I ain't gonna lie, I wasn't completely opposed to Trump. Like I was, but I wasn't, and I'm gonna say why. Because Trump is a businessman, and sometimes you need to see how they, even though he doesn't run businesses well, let's say that he doesn't have any many successful businesses, but he has a business mentality. And sometimes with the deficit of money that we're in, you kind of thought, like I kind of thought maybe if we had somebody who knew how to manage money better, maybe we can get out this goddamn deficit because we always owing motherfuckers. Like we some broke hoes.
When when
Like the
he when
level
he
of
went
broke
up
hoes
when
the
he
United
went up for
States is.
presidency, when he went up for presidency, I thought it was a joke, and then I seen that he was
Uh,
serious, and I sat there and I
Same.
said, you know what? I think he'd be more better in the Treasury office than presidency. You understand?
yeah.
Because he sees the numbers better. Whether he can work it, I don't know. Obviously, his jobs say otherwise, but he
Yeah.
sees the numbers better. You
But a
understand? He
lot of
got
people
more better
blame Trump.
connections. But
A lot
I
of us blame Trump.
personally,
Trump is not the one in charge. His fucking vice president is the one that does all this shit. And let's be real. His vice
vice
president was the
president that
one
does
who mentioned.
what? Because Pence ain't doing a
He was the
damn
one who
thing
mentioned.
either.
Listen, he was the one who mentioned the martial law to Trump. He
Uh
was the one
huh.
that said,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, if they don't do that, don't worry, we do martial law." And he's the one that makes the last vote. Bet y'all didn't know that. I found that out on the news the other day.
yeah,
Oh,
He's
you didn't
the
know?
No,
one of
I
the
Yeah,
people
didn't
that
the
know
do the
vice
yeah.
last
that.
vote. I
presidents,
didn't know that.
He's like I
vice
He's
didn't
the
know that.
vice
presidents.
president, the 12 seats of the Senate,
And if the
or
12 seats
or
are split, he makes the decision. He's number
decision.
Yeah.
13.
Yes.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I didn't
Vice
know that until they said. I was like, what? So this motherfucker know what he's
Trump.
doing. And when Trump says stupid shit, he's vice president is the one that tell him the other the non the like Trump say stupid dumb shit. Like he's not a politician. He say stupid racist shit. He say the dumb shit he say. And I get that because he
China
said from the gate he
virus.
wasn't a politician. Yeah, like he just come out his mouth. But when it comes
Yeah.
to shit that he starts saying that sound a little more put together, that shit
Political.
is the vice president. That shit ain't him.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
so I have to bring up two things. First things first. When I found out what he did in regards to the Central Park Five, Laura, I know we had the discussion already. We're not gonna bring it up. Me personally, I still feel he still owed all of them an apology, point blank, period. But my second thing was, did y'all know that lady who he elected inside of what was it? Who was that lady?
What the for Supreme Court?
Yeah, Supreme
Yes,
Court judge.
he voted somebody.
Two of
He
them. He
voted
voted two of them. The most
No, he voted
recent
one. No, the one he did at night. That bitch he voted in at night.
Was for
yeah.
the
was it
for
at
the
night?
Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah, he
most
put her.
recent one.
He
Yes.
he he
So did
swore her
y'all
in the
know?
middle of the night.
So did y'all know that the lady he just swore in, she is at the end of the day the person who makes the overall ruling for this whole voting situation. As far
She's the
Yes,
last vote.
Yeah, she's a
yeah.
GSA.
but
Oh, she's at a GSA.
did you know? And I found this out on the news. Did you know that Trump originally was saying that he was gonna vote in a Democrat or a black person, a female. He was talking all about her to get the votes, and then at the
Hmm.
last minute put that lady in.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Everything
That's
was
why I
about this
Yep.
say
one
Because
particular
he's
lady.
Trump
smart about his
feed.
shit.
That's why I said Trump
A favor
feeds
for a favor.
breadcrumbs.
A favor for a
Yeah,
Trump
favor. He ain't no dummy.
Trump
He
feeds
know what
yeah.
he's doing.
Trump feeds
He's
He
breadcrumbs.
not.
He
knows what
feeds
he's
A
doing.
lot.
breadcrumbs.
Let me not say that. I don't think he's not a dummy. I think his vice president is not a dummy because I think Trump is a dumbass. He
No,
said you can't
I don't
tell
think
me that you could just not. He's not strategic. He's doing what he's told to
No,
do.
he's not political.
he's just
He's
saying
But
not
he's not
political.
strategic
exactly. He's
either
not
because
political.
he's doing
He's not
things that
politically
he's told
correct.
to do. No, politically correct I can deal with because nobody's politically fucking correct, especially if you're not a lot of
But the
politician.
president
But his
should be.
president,
The president
his
should be.
vice, yeah, he should be. But I don't know. If I had I would be more comfortable with somebody from the hood being a president than just some rinky. I don't know, because you relate to people differently. That's how I look at it. Granted, like if you get somebody who came up through the struggle, who's seen it, I would like this young guy that's running for the Senate. If he was to run for president, he'd probably get my vote because he's came from the ghetto. He's
Yeah,
coming
sit down.
up. You understand what I'm saying? He's coming up
Yeah, sit down.
Is he?
and
Is
he's
he? Do you know if he's
rising
accepting
in his
money from
position.
big businesses?
No, I told you they didn't. Nobody backed him.
Okay, because AOC don't accept
Nobody
money
backed
from
him.
big businesses. My
Who, the
lady said
independent
I
dude?
cannot be influenced. She said I
Yeah, that
can't be
independent dude. He
influenced.
does.
But those are the type of people that you see that's coming up that need to get into the
I'm ready
position
for
where
AOC to take office. That's all
to
I'm
to,
saying.
to be president,
Who's
vice president in
ALC?
this. That's
You don't
Cortez,
know who
Laura,
AOC is,
the one
man.
that just won her. Like she beat whoever she was ran against this year. Like
Oh, okay. I think I know
Oh,
you talking about. That's the one that's all for defunding the police too. I remember her.
yeah.
She won the Bronx.
Oh girl. You but have you heard her policies though? Like her
No, no, no. I
policies and
just
what
no,
she's
no, no. I
trying
know.
to
Listen
do.
again. I'm gonna say this again. I do not follow politics. The only reason I know about her is because she was brought to my attention because of something that she was doing to get a class. It was some shit, and it had to do with defund the police. That's how I know who she is. Not that I know who she is because I pay attention to politics. I when you said you see I didn't know who you said. I'm like Cortez. Joey said she just won. I'm like, oh, that's the chick from the Bronx. Like I know who that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she from the Bronx.
but the
She
thing
But
from
she
about it
wanna
Cortez.
make
is
it
that
again. This ain't her first
she's not
time.
gonna
She
she's not
already
gonna be one
won.
to get into
She wanna
office. You know,
yeah,
she's not gonna be one to. If she runs for president in the primary, she's not gonna win. If Bernie Sanders, you know how many times Bernie Sanders been running inside the primaries and he doesn't win, they don't want people that's going to really make a change, and that's our
They don't.
fault.
somebody commented. Foot
That's
soldier
our
Hmm.
Dash in house number 3. What's up, foot soldier? How you doing?
that's our problem. Like Boo said, that's our problem. We got to make the change.
Yeah,
We
but
want
you don't.
somebody
That's
like her
why
to
Triple
be.
said people don't want to see change. People don't
Um,
want change.
that's a good question. I don't know.
People
This is
don't
the
want
third time
change.
Bernie Sanders ran in the primaries. Third time he ran in the
Yeah,
primaries.
that's how I know. That's how I know Laura's still logged in because she got Boo Boo got her picture up. Y'all see that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, what you talking about?
Laura's
I ain't
still
logged
logged
into.
in.
No, you're
I'm
logged
here.
in
Y'all
because
don't hear.
Boo Boo got the camera off. If you look and look into the thing in the camera off, it's your picture.
It's your
No, but
picture.
no, I'm. But Boo Boo, that's Boo Boo choice. He could choose his avatar. You know that, right?
No, but the reason
Nah, you got to show me how to do that. I just realized that.
no,
You
I just
can't. You
peeped
could
that.
choose your avatar. When you log in, it says when you put no camera when you're logging in, it says
Yeah.
edit avatar, and I chose a picture. And I
All
wanted to
right.
No,
have
I
my
I'm gonna
think
do
face
it.
that.
there because I didn't want people to say it wasn't me. I just can't be on camera right now.
I think what happened was Boo Boo said fuck it and just put it just say yes to everything and just left your picture there.
Yeah, probably.
but
I don't really be reading the stuff like that.
yeah.
But
So
nobody's
with
going
that
to
being
what's called.
said, guys, I think this election is by far one of the most toughest, one of the most craziest, and one of the most draining elections
I thought it was the
ever.
most entertaining. It
Yes,
entertained me.
I
It
feel like,
entertained
and
the
that's what
shit out of
people is
me.
going for nowadays: entertainment. What's entertaining to them?
each
No, it
candidate
did
did
entertain
what they
Yeah.
me.
had to do to get
It was
votes.
entertaining. It
Each
was
candidate did what they
entertaining
had to do.
because everything
Why are
about
you
this
kicking
election
me?
just didn't run right. Like everything. Like when they did the the debates, them shits just didn't go right. Like it was
Hold
just
on
too
now.
much
It was
drama.
Biden who
Mm.
didn't go right. Child, Biden was up there like a damn
No,
frog
I'm
on
not
the
saying who it
log,
was. I'm
a
saying
deer in the
no.
headlights.
Even the one
My
with
sis,
Kamala, whatever the bitch name is. I can't say it. Shit. Harris, Vice
Kamala
President.
Harris. Yeah.
Kamala,
Kamala.
whatever you want to call the bitch. Kamala, whatever you want to call her. With her, even with her, I found it funny. Like I said, because you sitting here, you saying to yourself, "No, this is not this. This is not that." But even with her, it didn't go exactly as planned. Like there was a lot of issues with
She stood her
debates in general. But
ground. She stood her ground.
no, she did.
Joe
She stood
Biden
her
was
ground.
pussy. on that debate stage. That was so
That's what I'm
bad.
saying.
Like
It just
I don't
didn't go as
understand
planned.
how.
because that's not how president debate. That's not how the presidential debate goes.
Yeah,
They're supposed
exactly.
to
That's what I'm
sit
saying.
there.
Not what
They're supposed to
normally goes.
sit there and speak their piece for 2 minutes.
You get your
Then the
time to
next
speak.
person
I
speaks
get
their
my time
piece
to
for two
speak.
minutes,
Yes, that's very
and
true. They
that's
I'm
might
gonna
it.
get a
say
little
this.
heated, but
I'm gonna
not
say this.
crazy heated.
I'm gonna say this to your comment, Boo Boo, when you was like, "That's not how presidential debate goes." I actually was rewatching President Obama's and who was Reagan.
No, that was what's his name that died?
Mitt Romney or
Mitt
McCain.
Romney,
Yeah.
John
So I
McCain.
was
Yep.
watching a little bit of their debates, and that's not all the way true either. Like, um, for instance, there was a part where Obama was speaking to the person, the mediator, and the
Yeah.
mediator was like, address him. He was like, the mediator was like, turn to him and address him and let him know what it is. And Obama then turned and addressed Romney and said what he had to say. So I wouldn't
And then
say
while
that's
Obama was
how
talking,
presidential debate, because I do think
and
like they
and
would
then
be
while
more
Obama
able
was
to
talking, but while
debate it
Obama was
out. You know what I
talking,
mean?
yeah, but while Obama was talking, then Mitt Romney sit there and talk over him and cut him off, and
I
Obama couldn't
mean,
say
no,
nothing.
those are the perks.
That's
Those
it.
are the
The
perks.
the the debate is you sit there. You got to think of it. This is court. You go in there, the judge sits there and says,
Hmm.
"What do you plead? Guilty. What do you plead? Not guilty. It's not what do you plead? Guilty. Ah, false, false lies. You know they not supposed to be doing that, and that's what Trump did the whole debate.
That's
Every
what I'm saying. It's
time,
not a
every
normal
time Biden took
presidency.
a breath, every time Biden took a breath, he said, "But why did your son have money from China?
But my
But
thing
why did he
is,
have
boo
money
boo,
from
we
China?"
already, but my thing is, you already know how this president is. You know how he works. You knew you were
Mm-hmm.
gonna get cut off at some point. So my thing is, why not strategize better and
Be
why not
nice.
gather your thoughts a little
He
bit better as
did.
far as like what you're. No, he
He
didn't.
did. Why you think?
He
Why you
froze
think he won the
plenty of
votes?
times when it wasn't even Trump's turn. Biden was talking. Trump interrupted him, and he just let him interrupt him.
And
Like
look who won. Biden
projected,
won.
projected winner,
Projected because they
projected
can't
winner.
find because they
Let's
can't
not
find
forget.
they
Let's not
because
forget flavor
they
for
can't
flavor.
finalize they can't
Flavor for
finalize it.
flavor.
They can't finalize it because Trump contested it. So right now they're dealing with his contestants, and right now whatever he contested, they're going over it. Once his contest is shut down, then all right, you say you have more votes, so there's forgery or whatever.
Hmm.
We deny that. That's some false claim.
But already multiple
And
states
Biden won.
already throughout his lawsuits. They were saying on the news
Yeah.
earlier, multiple states already throughout his lawsuits.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all gonna have to forgive me for my hell today, cause child, I ain't watching it. But
But that's what's going on.
um,
Multiple states are saying
yeah.
no, when we're not letting you do, like Pennsylvania won't let him do a recount because it's supposed to be a certain percentage, and since they're over that percentage, they're not going to do a recount. He's pissed about that.
My
Mm-hmm.
thing is,
Like the thing is, there's only been one time that there was a recount, and the one time that there was a recount, I forgot what president it was, and the reason why he said do a
it was
recount
Bush, it was
was because
Bush and that other guy,
it was
Bush
Al
yeah,
Gore,
and it
Senior.
Bush and
was
Al Gore.
yeah, and it was because Bush won by less than 10,000. Now, in political views, less than 10,000, that's less. That's the 1% thing. So that right there, they can sit there and say, okay, we could recount it just to make sure and double check that we got the numbers correct. This man lost by more than 40,000, 30,000, 20,000. He lost by more than that. That's why when he's calling for recounts, it's like, bro, you got smoked. You got smoked. There's no
Cause the
way
vote, cause
we they threw
damn,
out
they
that
got rid of
many.
the damn balance, boo boo.
There's no way how you gonna get rid of all them damn valets and not one person see that many valets missing. That's
I'm
a lot
sorry.
of paperwork. How you gonna get rid of that many
Not if you
ballots and not
burn
one
them.
person noticing? Huh?
What are you talking about? Listen, boo boo, you have to understand that the world is on the same page as far as getting him out of office. You have to understand that much, okay?
Nah,
At the end of
apparently
it
not. That
all,
nigga still
at
got
the
people.
end of it all, not everybody wants to see Trump in office.
I don't know.
That has
I'd
to
rather
be
see him
taken
out.
into consideration. Not everybody is level minded, and not everybody's just gonna go in and do their job to do their job and only their job. Especially when they have something as precious as, like the fate of our next president. Like,
So
Yeah.
so
listen,
so they go in there
it's a
and they
lot of
find
people on the
nothing
same
wrong.
page as
They don't
far as
they
taking
don't
him out
find
of office.
but they don't find voter fraud. They don't find none of this.
Because
They
there aren't
they
any votes. There aren't the ballots are not there, Joey.
they but even if you didn't find voter fraud from the beginning, more than likely you're not going to find it now. Even if you
Because they're
recount, you're not going to
gone.
find it.
The votes are gone, Joey. That's why. It's a
But
little
that's
bit
what I'm
harder
But
saying.
to
but you
prove.
The
didn't find
people
the
the
evidence
people
It's a
that do
little bit
the
before.
harder to prove,
But you didn't find the
that's
vote.
when
You find it
the
but
evidence
before.
is not even
but that's
there.
why I said all
Or
three parties, all three parties are available at the ballots. You understand? You got Republican representatives, Democrat representatives, and independent representatives at the ballots doing the counts. So if the Democrats are getting rid of the Republicans, they may get away with one or two ballots. But to tell me they're getting rid of thousands of ballots, and the Republicans and the other people that's sitting there for the Republican, for Trump, sitting there, they not to question it. In so
But
many
boo, I
states,
think you're
in one
missing.
state, I
I think you're
consider
missing the point of the possibility of it all. Like, true enough, that one
the
video
possibility is slim.
of it all. Like,
It's
true
slim.
enough,
It's
that one
slim to
video,
none.
that one guy could not handle taking care of or getting rid of all of those votes. True or not,
Yeah.
that is very true. However, when I say that people are on the same page, it's not just him. Like, you have to understand, you picture this: somebody who has lost family members to COVID, somebody who then sat here and they suffer from police brutality. Like, going into the, like, it's a lot of things, that weighs on the shoulders of workers, everyday workers. And for USPS anyway, they go through the most shit. So it's like going into a job to where you're not appreciated, and then now you got the president and shit. It's like, listen, all I'm saying is I'm not gonna debunk the possibility that there were a group of people, or not even a group. I want to say people who are on the same page as far as getting him out of office. I'm not just gonna debunk that possibility because it can very well be true. Like you say, you spoke to your
Mm.
stepdad and your dad, and how he mentioned the process of how the votes are counted. Like, that's how they're counted, but nobody's taking into consideration how are those, who's watching those votes get from point A to point B to point C so that they can get voted. You follow me? I'm
No,
not
and I
gonna
get
debunk
what
that.
Mm.
you and I get what you're saying, but at the same time, on the flip side, those Republican people that don't want Biden in could be doing the same thing. Nobody knows. We wasn't there. We can't
But
sit there and
there,
say
but that's why I made the point that Trump was the target and not necessarily Biden. All right, you got to understand, like, Trump's supporters and his followers, they were already like, shit, we won this, we got this nipped in the bud. You know what I mean? Like, it was already predicted that he was
because
going to
they
win from that
voted
side.
on the
Yeah.
day. They Trump supporters didn't vote early. Trump supporters wasn't really mailing in their ballots. They went on the day of the election. So when they had that
But
early,
Joey, you don't know that either because, again, like Boo Boo just said, whenever it comes down to mail-in voting, the majority is Republican. So
yes,
you
but
can't, like, true enough, like, yeah, he might have
But
said to
Trump told
y'all
his
to
people to
vote.
do that.
Trump
Trump
told
told
his
his
people.
people to vote
Right. And
in
that may be
person.
so, but not all of his people just listen to him. Not everybody just like
No, that nigga
follows
is God to
every
the. That
command.
nigga
Like,
is
there are
God to
still
these
going to be
people.
people to vote
That's what I was
Republican
saying.
and
He
mail
God to
in
some
their
of them.
ballots.
That
He,
that man
yeah,
is
he,
God to these
that
people.
man's words say something and people
That
do it.
man is God to these people, yo.
Some of them, hell yeah.
Yeah,
God.
they do it. When I went to go
I'm
vote,
not just gonna debunk the possibility is what I'm saying.
but I don't think that's something that's never happened. I believe every presidency you have people that do that stupid shit. Just the problem is this person decided to actually videotape himself
Videotape it.
doing it,
Yeah, but we don't know
which
which time he did that. He could have did that the first time Trump ran. You don't even know that
But
yeah,
from this.
regardless,
From,
it still raises questions. Like regardless, it's like you know what I mean.
and that's the
Like
problem.
Lauren said, he could have very well did this from the beginning, but it's like to see it actually happen. It's like damn, like.
Hmm.
And the
But
problem
then
is
again,
that
that's why
gives
I'm not
Trump
necessarily
ammunition.
relying on the video because y'all were like, it's a possibility it can't be real.
It can't.
Okay, you
It
might
is
be
a
right. It
possibility,
might not even be real. However, I'm sure
but it
that
gives Trump,
possibility is still there
yeah,
of
but he
for
course.
deserves.
them
Even
to
whether
do
that
that.
guy did that or not, Trump deserves to make sure he loses. I don't see nothing wrong
And
with
I
that.
agree with that, Laura. I agree. He has every right and his
To
right
make
as
sure,
an American citizen to make sure that
because
he lost fair and square.
I'm gonna be honest
And
with
like
you.
Boo Boo
So
said, if
I
he
met.
ever got to hold on to that video, my
It's
guy's
over.
going.
It's
He's
Yeah,
over.
going to
he's
hold on
It's
to
riding
over.
that.
it.
It's
He's
over.
He's gonna
riding
It's
that
hold on
over.
video
to that
over.
shit.
It's over. It's
Even
over.
though
He get that video. It's over.
I don't like Trump, and I'm gonna say it like that. Even though I don't like him, at the same time, this election was a lot more different than other elections. There was early
Yeah.
voting or um mail-in voting. There was a lot of stuff that we normally don't experience.
So
Yeah.
So
true.
at the end of the day, could somebody have fucked up Trump? Yeah,
Yeah, could have.
not impossible, and I'm okay with that. Like I said, I don't like him, but he does have the right to make sure he lost, and there's nothing wrong
Yeah.
with that.
He does have the
Can
right.
y'all
You're
see
right.
it turning around?
I gotta put y'all in my ear though, because I'm.
Can y'all
I
see
but
it turning around?
Anything is possible. I can't.
Well, see it turning around. I don't see it turning around. I don't
a
know if
lot of
that's
people.
hopeful. I don't know if that's hopeful wishing for me or whatnot. But like trying to be as realistic as possible, I don't see it turning around.
I don't either.
Even with that
He,
situation where he was like he was gonna vote in the a person of color to fill in that position, but and I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
get back to y'all with that lady because apparently they had business before, like they knew of each
Mm.
other before, so you know I don't know. I think if anything, that lady would probably like be his last hope.
Grandma wants you.
So
Yeah.
it could be his last. It could be his last hope. But the way it goes to like the way she's talking and the way the people from the GSA talking, they're gonna follow what's going on in the Constitution
mhm.
Yeah.
by book. So if a lot of states, because a lot of states that he lost, especially some of the battleground states that he lost, are throwing his stuff out and they're not doing recounts. But he's suing the blockage of them certifying Joe Biden, and they're telling him you lost. We're not doing it because they're looking at the count. They're looking at
Yeah.
okay, if you lost by 40,000, you lost by 40,000 votes. There's no way in hell. This is how they believe in this. They believe in their mind. No way in hell somebody threw out 40,000
Fifty
votes.
thousand. Yeah.
Yeah,
Listen, but
that's
you're
it.
making it seem like
But
okay,
that's how
but you're
this.
making it
But
seem
that's
as
how
if
the states
one
are.
person. But again,
No,
Joseph, it's
but that's what
across
the
the
states are
board.
thinking.
Like it's not
Yeah,
that
but
impossible.
that's what the states are saying to him. You're coming to
It's
us with
not. It's not that.
lawsuits
It's not that.
without
It's not
evidence.
impossible. It's
You
not that
coming
it's
to the lawsuits
impossible.
without evidence.
It's just for him for you to get rid of 40,000 envelopes and no one see no evidence of it. Like not one person sat there and
But
said,
even if
"Oh,
they see it, who's gonna say something about it? Really?
a Trump
If you
supporter,
if you have people
But
that's
that's
a
even
Republicans
Trump
sitting
Karen."
there,
supporters even working at the USPS facility.
oh, but
Even if they're not working in the USP, where they going to dump these papers at?
They could burn them easily. It's nothing.
yeah,
Forty
but
thousand pieces of paper. That's
in
a lot.
order
That's a
for
Yeah.
big fire. That's a
I
big
don't.
fire.
I
True enough,
don't
that is a
doubt
big
that.
fire,
I
but
don't
it
doubt
doesn't
that
have to
that
be
could be
burned all
possible.
at one time.
Listen, I don't
And
doubt
you got
that
to
could be
understand
possible.
again is if the 40,000 votes are coming from
No,
one
but
person.
no, nobody said from one
Forty
person. The
thousand votes
state.
might be
I
coming from
said the
one person.
state.
It's coming
I
from the
said the
state
state.
as a whole, right?
But I said the
Yeah.
state. The state's just telling him, you're coming to us and saying that 40,000 votes or ballots have been thrown away, but you're showing us no evidence. So if you're showing us no evidence, we
How can
cannot
you
sit there.
show evidence?
And this is why they're saying and they're throwing his lawsuits out. Because no matter what you say, in order for you to prove these things, you have to have some type of evidence, some
Mhm.
type of something. And
Right.
every time they go to
Hmm.
court and it's time to present their evidence, they don't have it. They just have a theory or a possibility. Anything in this world is possible. You could have a state of Michigan and 40,000 people decided
Why
to
you
throw away
playing?
votes.
Them votes could be those same votes that allegedly his people picked up on by the river. He was
You
like
know?
in the debate. He was like, my people found
Mm-hmm.
a box of ballots that had Trump all over it, over there by the water.
Okay. And then
So
people
it's
said in
like it's
Pennsylvania,
not
people said
necessarily
in
burning them,
Pennsylvania,
but they're definitely trying to get rid of the evidence.
but people said
And
in
I'm not
Philly,
saying like
but
it's
listen,
true,
but
but
in Philly, they found thousands of votes, according to people in Philly, thousands of votes that had Biden's name on it on the side of the road.
I didn't hear about that. And let alone did he
Listen,
bring it up
everybody's
in
gonna
the
have
debate?
their
He didn't
conspiracy
even bring it
Everybody
up in
theories.
the
has it.
debate.
Yeah, yeah. Biden is not going to bring it up. Trump is not going to bring that up. He's not going to bring up Biden's votes that
He
people
no, but
found.
he brought up the fact that his people found ballots of Trump, ballots of votes that had Trump's name on it. Like he brought that up in the debate.
Yeah, but
However,
he's
he's
going to
saying
bring that
that
up. But
Yeah, but
the
that couldn't have been
the
this election because that didn't happen for this election. That was a whole nother election.
what you
that could
mean?
be anything.
When they were doing the debates, you can't find Trump votes at the debate because the debate wasn't even time to vote yet.
No, early voting was, if I'm not mistaken, it was.
Nope, it was not. It did not start. It did not start. Early voting started in October and it ended the Sunday before election day. It started, I
So when
believe,
was the
October
debate?
20 something. The debate was in
It
the
was
beginning
Lord.
of
It was
Twenty-fifth.
around that
not the
time
end.
because remember there was a debate before our Halloween segment.
Yes, the debate was before a Halloween segment, but that was
Yeah, but
before they started the early voting because we talked about it on the Halloween segment about how they were starting early voting, and the
and
debate
Laura
was
said
Right.
she was
before.
And
going to
what
vote
day
on
was
Sunday.
that? Well,
Laura says,
And
I
that's
don't
when
know
I
anything
said I
about
was
that.
gonna vote that Sunday. That was it started that Friday,
Yeah.
and I was like, I'm gonna vote
the thing
Sunday.
about it is, even
So how
still,
could it's impossible?
So
I
early
don't
voting
doubt the
was
poss.
going on around the time the debates were going on as well, right?
I don't
No, I
put it
didn't say
past
that.
anybody when it comes to possibilities
Why is
or
it that everybody sees that?
theories,
Let me leave and come back in. Let me leave and come back in
because
because I'm hearing
anything
like
is
a
possible. They
bunch
said,
of
oh, they found thousands of
robots.
Biden votes on election day, standing in the streets.
I
But
didn't
we
hear
don't know.
nothing about that.
We don't know if that's true though. Nobody knows if that's true. We're not there in those states, and we're not there observing those things. Anything is possible in this country. Anything. Anything. That
Yeah.
guy could be telling the truth, and he could have
I
been
think
ripping up
that is
a bunch
something
of,
I can agree with.
anything could
Anything
be
can
possible.
happen.
Mhm.
But I can't sit there and say, but in courts, when you go to court, if you don't have evidence in black and white to show the judges, they're not going to take your case.
Yeah, if he sits there and he goes with that video, they'll take it, but they'll
They'll
probably
take
just
the
take it
case.
in just that state. Where what
That's
state
it.
was he in? But
And,
I
and
think
then
he
what
can do
looks,
I
that.
think a lot of states are I think a
It'll
lot
be
of states is
definitely
dubbing him
interesting.
because he sat there and said, especially Pennsylvania, he's like Pennsylvania is one of the most corrupt places ever. So they was like, nah, fuck you. You got a complaint? We ain't doing it. Fuck you. He sat there and said it. He was like, yeah, it's one of the most corrupt
Wisconsin and Georgia
places.
was the one of the first two states that threw out his lawsuits. This is
Georgia's
before.
still counting, ain't it? Georgia ain't been caught
No,
up.
no. No, no.
Georgia is Biden.
Georgia is
No,
Biden,
it's
but
projected Georgia is Biden. Georgia ain't been
yes,
called yet.
no,
Georgia is
Georgia.
Biden.
They're recounting again, but the Secretary of State and the people, the governor said that the results are going to be the same, no matter how he likes it. Even with the recount, the results are still
Buddy
going to be the
Holly was
same.
from Georgia while you playing. That's the gag. He was from Georgia while you playing, but
Shoot.
So that's exactly what they're saying. They're saying that it's going to be the same. So okay, Biden projected to win Georgia, and then they recount it, and he still wins Georgia. What are you going to say then? He said now he's going to go with the scan votes. But that's what he said. He wants them to count the scan votes and count by hand. If the results are
Mm-hmm.
the
well,
same,
like Laura said, like it's within his right to do all of these things. Like,
mhm,
I
but it's also
mean,
in the state.
at
It's
the end of the
also
day, I
in
think it's
state
our first
rights.
time ever experiencing somebody not wanting to
This,
concede after they've lost. So, I mean,
but a lot of the
Oh
he
yeah.
has
presidents
his right
and
to do so. So
a lot of
let
people,
him.
they did concede and they did still do the recounts and they did still do their legal actions, but they conceded.
Well, maybe
Yeah.
He's
he's
the
not
only one,
somebody you can easily just take down like that. You know, maybe he,
but
because
he
I know
said
if
that
it
from
was
the
me,
beginning.
I know I would want to. I'd be
Of
like,
course, I would want to know.
nah,
If
me, ain't nobody vote for me, nah.
I would want
So I'm gonna want to count and recount
after
and
a
do all that
while,
extra shit too. Hell, like anybody would do it, really,
yeah. But how much?
especially
Yeah,
when
but
the
how
stakes
much
are
are
this
you going
high.
to? Yeah, but if states is throwing their lawsuits out and they're not giving you recounts, because Nevada's not giving him a recount, Wisconsin's not giving him a recount, neither is Michigan, neither is
Well, I mean,
California.
popular vote don't really matter anyway, really.
Mm.
No, the through the electoral votes, they're not giving it to him. Arizona's not giving him a recount, and they was one of the closest states.
Yeah.
So, so
No,
what are
they
you
have
gonna
to give
do?
it if it's within a certain amount, they have to give them the recount. That's what a lot of people don't know. Within a certain amount, they have to give them the recount.
Yeah. So in order for them to deny him, that means it wasn't in within that criteria.
So now Georgia decided to count because I guess Georgia was 0.5
Because
percent.
he wants all of America to do a recount. He
Yeah,
wants
he wants.
everybody in America to do a recount.
Hmm.
And it's like, bro, you can't do that. Like,
Hell, you might as well tell
you can't.
everybody in America to revote. Shit.
Just basically,
And this
and that's gonna
time,
be
ain't no
worse.
damn mail-in ballots. Y'all
And
asses better
that's gonna
get
be
to that damn
worse.
polling station and vote.
Mm.
But that's the thing. He wants the mail-in ballots that was counted after the election to be
Hmm.
disqualified, even if it was postmarked for the election. He wants them to be
Well, it's only
disqualified because they
so much
gotta.
he
And he
can really
can't.
do. Like it's only so much he can do. So
But he's trying.
Mm.
His legal team
No,
is
he's
trying.
trying. They
He's
trying
trying.
very, very hard. They trying very, very hard.
That's why he's not really doing no interviews. You know, Trump not really doing no interviews, right? He's not really answering
yeah,
no
I ain't even got
questions.
Twitter to see if he's tweeting now. Shit.
Oh
Yeah,
no, he's not
he's stay,
tweeting
he's
like
staying
that.
away. He's staying away
Staying
because
away.
he's throwing a fit right now.
He,
He's
I mean, I guess you call it he playing smart about the situation. Like he know not
when
Yeah,
to,
he
he
playing
you
small.
know,
when he
count his.
got off
What my
the
mama
plane.
said, don't count your eggs before they hatch.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yo,
Don't count your chickens
he
before they hatch. Don't count
but
your chickens before they hatch.
his whole campaign told him, don't say you won at all. Don't say that you won. And he got on that mic.
This is a marvelous victory. We
I
already
mean,
knew this
no,
was gonna
he
happen.
facts,
I love
facts,
Georgia.
facts.
Georgia, great state. They love me. Texas, Houston, they held it down.
That's what
Chase
he said
spots
with
out.
Texas,
That's right.
y'all.
Yep.
He got up there
He
before they even
Because,
said he got
like
Texas. He
Laura
was
said,
like,
he
I
had
won
a meeting
Texas,
with
the mayor.
Pence.
He told me I was 700,000 votes strong ahead, and he went up there and claimed
mm-hmm.
Texas
That's
before
it.
he even won it.
Mr.
So,
Pence, Mr. Pence, Mr. Vice President Pence sat with Trump and told Trump, "Oh, we won this election. You might as well tell people we won." So
yeah.
Trump's stupid
Hmm.
ass got on that stage with Pence next and said we won.
No funny. I think he did win.
I don't think
I
he won.
do think he won. I
I don't
Nah,
think it
think he
was
won.
just too much sneaky shit going on.
I don't think
nah.
he
That's why he
won.
was so surprised. Like y'all have to realize, like this man, the cat has bitten his tongue. This man, listen, he's a businessman. I would consider him smart. Um, oh, boo boo, I was like, boo boo, your thing muted. I didn't know if you was talking in the camera or not, but
Oh no, I was talking to Malika.
I do think there is a possibility that he won this election. It's just
I'm
It
not
could
gonna
be a
say
possibility.
yes or no. I'm not gonna say yes or no because do I think it's impossible? No, I don't think it's impossible. Considering all, like I said, there was a lot of things that transpired with this election. So yeah, it's not impossible for him to have won. Let's say that it's not impossible. It's not what we want, but it's not impossible.
It's not
And I'm
impossible in
I'm
my
realistic with
opinion.
that.
I don't believe he won.
It's not what we want.
In my
Listen,
opinion,
it's not what we want.
that's my
No,
opinion.
that's what I said. Not what we want,
I don't
it's
think he
but
not
won.
what we
it's not
want, but
impossible because
I do think if it
We
wasn't
gotta wait
for
and see.
the switch up and the way we were able to vote,
Listen,
I do think there would have been a possibility
it
that
was a
he
lot. It was
won
a lot
this
of.
election.
if we would have voted
I want to say
regularly,
that it was
Trump
a
would have
lot of
won.
errors.
I'm
Because
gonna say
at the
I
that.
end
want to
of
say
the
it's a lot of
day,
errors. You can't
Biden got
say
ahead because of these mail-in ballots. He got
Yes, it was two
ahead
to
in a
one.
lot of these
no, no,
situations
no.
because of these mail-in ballots.
I don't think that either. I don't
So
think that he got in. I don't think that's why he got ahead. I think that a lot of what they said was
that's what
a
they
truth.
said
A
on
lot of
the.
people voted this time. No, but they said, I said I'm not saying, but I don't think that. I think that Biden would have gotten the same amount of votes. I just, like I said, I don't know if the cocky because now what Trump told people to do for his people, who's to say Biden's people didn't do it? Because Trump told his people go and vote twice, and told Biden's people vote twice. And if you vote twice, vote for me. And that's what he said. So do I feel like yes, maybe people voted twice and they have to really check that? Yeah, I can believe that too. So we just have to see what happens. That's all we can do. But I do not believe, like to say, thank you.
Yeah, I
I
don't
will
believe
not
he
say
won.
that Biden completely didn't get the votes he got. He might have got double though. They might be counting and see doubles. That's
And
why I
that's
said I
and
will
that's the
not say
thing.
that he
What if
completely
they
lost
recount?
because
They recount these states for him. The states they recount the states for him, and
I
they
left my
and Biden
mask
gets
in the car.
more
I'll tell them
votes
to take it out in the morning.
and beats him by more of a margin. What is he gonna say then? Got the recount.
But we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, we don't know. That's what I stand by. We don't know.
He was
Until
upset
we
I
know
because
for
he.
sure.
second that. I second that. We don't know.
We don't know. Anything is
I
possible
wasn't
because
there.
this was a
I
different
can't sit there and
election.
see
This was a different election. This election was
because
a
from
different
what
election. Not that it
I
was Joe
found
Biden
out,
and Trump. It was just the way it was handled was differently. We're
no,
not as
I
a
found out
yeah, but we're not as a state
a lot of people,
used to that.
a,
So
a
anything is
lot of
possible.
people don't know this, but there's supposed to be
Hmm.
observers sitting there. And sometime in Pennsylvania, I don't know which county was it, that the observers was locked out for 20 for like 5 6 hours while they was counting.
I don't know if y'all noticed or not, but they were actually doing live
Mm.
streams. So they actually had some places had live streams of people counting votes and stuff. Like
Yeah.
being open, like saying like if y'all want to see us count these votes, y'all more than welcome to. I saw a few of them on YouTube Live. I know YouTube had a few of them from different cities around
I seen them, yeah,
the
but
country.
that was the biggest thing that Trump's son said, and that was Rudy Giuliani's biggest issue. The observers wasn't allowed inside there for some hours. So if you have people live streaming the votes and live streaming the counting, and it's all over social media, that means people were seeing it. But the people that was paid to go to watch them, some counties they wasn't in there for hours, and they wasn't let in for hours. So
Yeah.
anything in this world with this the way the election was this year is possible.
So you saying that the people who were on live video they weren't the real people who was supposed to be counting the votes?
No, 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 no. Not saying that there wasn't people counting the votes. I'm just saying that there wasn't the people that were supposed to be sitting there watching them count the votes.
Mm.
because
Well,
that was the biggest issue that Giuliani keeps bringing that up all the time. Every time he does the press conference. Oh, the observers wasn't allowed to watch for, and I forgot, it's somewhere in Pennsylvania for this amount of hours, and it's like, wow, like really, like
Listen,
so it's a
we
certain
don't know.
amount of
You gave
hours,
me overtime slip?
and I wasn't there.
Okay.
I can't tell you that,
Uh,
but that's what started Rudy Giuliani with his barrage of lawsuits and his thing. Because once he saw the
but
observers, that
we don't know.
he so we will see, we will see. This December, don't know what day you said it was, Laura.
I think it's the 21st.
The 23rd of December. That's when all the
The
electoral
21st.
twenty,
votes
no, I
and
think it's
21st.
20th.
21st. Okay, that's when all the electoral vote people go there. They have a whole big thing and they discuss what they're going to discuss. And if they sit there and they say that Biden won, then it's official. Biden won. If they sit
What
there
if
and
Yep.
say,
they don't?
well, we have a problem because we're thinking that there's more voter fraud and stuff like that, they got until January.
What if they don't? What if he don't
Then they
win?
then they
If
don't.
Biden don't win, if
Then
Trump win,
what can we do? What can we do?
Everybody
move,
over here celebrating and shit like that gonna be the same
move,
people
I'm moving
fighting.
to
I swear to
Canada.
God.
What
Swear to
can we do?
God. Every
But
yo,
he is the
yo.
projected president elect. Georgia, Michigan, um, Arizona, Nevada, California, all these places that Biden won, they're all saying that even if they recount, it's not going to change the outcome.
But that's
Pennsylvania,
totally based on popular vote. We're talking about the electoral vote.
no, Pennsylvania's not. Pennsylvania already told him it's too
No, I'm
much. But
saying for the electoral vote that's coming
yes,
up in
but
December.
yeah, but he before Pennsylvania he had 253, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
So let's just
Once he
say
got
what did
once
he
he got Pennsylvania, Pennsylvania gave him 273.
Hmm.
exactly? Pennsylvania said they're not doing a recount because you're too many percentages behind. We're not doing that. He pissed about that. He stopped Michigan for calling Biden the winner. He sued them. They're in court right now. The Michigan said you're too many percentages behind. We're not doing a recount.
Yeah.
They're gonna throw out his lawsuit. So even if Georgia switches, he still lost the election.
I mean, if he
Mm-hmm.
wants a recount in Pennsylvania, they can't just be like, "We not gonna give you one,"
It,
regardless of
it's a
how many
certain
percentages.
yes, it's a
No,
Like,
certain
it depends
percentage.
on the percentage.
It's a certain percentages you're behind. If
mm,
he was behind 1% and less, Pennsylvania could not deny him a recount.
Yeah, they have to
They have
because
no
it's too
choice.
it's too close to
Yeah.
call.
That's why
But he's
Wisconsin
down
recounted.
by like 3%.
Wisconsin recounted, and Biden won after the recount. That's why
Okay.
nobody's
Mm-hmm.
Now get
mentioning
on social.
Wisconsin no more.
mm.
They're mentioning Michigan and Arizona and Georgia. But
But now get
if
on
he's
Is
too
Mm-hmm.
South
far behind,
Carolina? I mean, is North Carolina called yet?
they gave that to Trump.
But is it
Yeah, he won the
called?
Carolinas, both of them.
Oh, he
They
did.
didn't call it. They didn't call it, but they say he's the projected
Cause I was
winners.
gonna say, I don't think North Carolina is called yet.
A
Yeah,
lot of
no,
the states are
I
not
think Trump
officially
got both of
called.
them.
They're not going to be officially called until in December.
The December date. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when they're going
Okay,
to be officially
well,
called
I think
because he's going through all his legal situations and all the recounts and the
Yeah.
percentages and what can he do
They
to make
want to
sure
make
he get this
sure.
done. So Georgia's told him it's not going to change, but we'll do it for you. It's still not going to change.
Yeah, they have to
And
do it.
then
It's not that they want to. They still have to give him that same courtesy. At the end of the day, he deserves. Like I said, I'm not. I'm
if
not a
it's a certain
fan. I don't want
if it's a
nobody can
certain
ever think
percentage, because I was just looking at it on my phone, it's a certain
they don't have
percentage.
to. The judge can say that, but the judge can tell them
to do it anyway. But
Hi,
if the
America.
it's not necessarily the judge. If the judge sits there and tells them, well, you too many percentages behind, you're not getting a recount, then you're not getting a recount. Because if you're
Yeah,
behind
the
a certain
judge
amount of
has to
percentages,
approve. I think he can. That's why they say the lawsuit. That's why he has the right to appeal. So he has the right to appeal all these states that they say that he couldn't, he shouldn't. They that, like you said, they won by too much. He has the right to appeal
mm,
them. It's for a judge to say no. You know what?
oh,
The judge
Pennsylvania already
said
told
no,
him
and
no.
the judge makes the final decision on that.
Yeah, Pennsylvania already
Because I'm
told him
pretty sure
no.
they don't want to do that. Who got time? They don't got time for that shit.
They barely didn't want to count the votes that they
Oh
had.
no.
They was complaining about the
Oh
votes
yeah.
that they had. They was like, yo, we have too many votes.
Can you
But
see
Hmm.
we'll
why it's
see.
so shifty then, Joey?
That was the problem. But that was because they waited to the last minute to count their vote.
Oh yeah,
If they wouldn't
Pennsylvania
have waited
waited.
to the last minute, they
Because
wouldn't have.
you gotta
Pennsylvania
Nobody can
remember
count.
counted
you
their
gotta
what?
remember
They
not
counted their
not a lot of
absentee, mail-in
not a lot of
votes, and early
not
voting
a
at in the same day.
yeah, not a lot of states are big on mail-in votes. But for some reason, because of the coronavirus, all of the states had a lot of mail-in votes. So the states that aren't, like that don't have a system for mail-in votes, just sat there and decided we're going to count the votes that come in person, and then we'll do the mail-in votes, and they end up
No,
getting
but that wasn't
smoked
it. They
like
did the
that.
early vote. They counted their early votes on the day of election. They should have counted them when they came
Yeah,
in.
she
They
right.
should have
On
tallied
Mhm.
Yeah,
them at the end of
exactly.
the
Yeah,
No,
early
but
but
that.
votes.
that's
they
They
but that's
they
what I
had
but
to
Yeah,
that's
take.
Pennsylvania was
that's what I'm
crazy.
saying. That's what I'm saying. A lot of states don't get a big percentile on early votes or mail-in votes. They just get a big number on walk-in votes. So where
Well,
the
no
system
state has ever
before the
had that amount
coronavirus,
of.
yeah, where before the coronavirus
No state
happened,
has ever had
they
that.
could sit there and they could count all the physical votes, and then it take like an hour for them to count the mail-in and early votes. Now they got double, twice, like three times, four times the amount. So they
Mhm.
went with the physical votes and then realized, shit, we got like 5, 6 hours left of votes left. Like that's what screwed them
Now
over.
some of them had like 12 hours, 15 hours of votes left
Hmm.
because they decided on like Pennsylvania said, oh, we're not going to count no votes until election day. Stupid, stupid. Why would you
Facts.
count? Wait till election day to count all your votes?
Instead of start counting it now.
States like
I just think there should be some sort of wideware, like some text message. This one text that's sent out to everybody in America. Did you vote for this person? Did you vote for this person? If the answer is yes, if the answer is no, send it back. Tally them up that way. Tally them up that way.
I think what they should do is just count the people's votes and fuck the electoral votes. Count the people vote, and that's it.
uh-huh.
You know what?
That's
It don't matter. It don't matter what the electoral vote says. At the end of it all, Trump lost by how many? 3 million, 4 million people.
mm,
So we all say we want Biden. Fuck that. I don't care what Georgia thinks. I don't care what Pennsylvania thinks. We all said Biden.
I didn't say Biden. I didn't say Trump. I don't want neither one of them fuckers in office.
Well,
But that's the sad
Niggas
part
say
is
they don't
that
want nobody.
No, I told you who I wanted. I've been and told you, child.
yeah, but if she runs,
I no, I'm talking about Bernie Sanders. I don't know who his vice
but
president
he's
is, but I
but
know
the
it
thing
would
about it is Bernie Sanders is never going to get elected as the candidate to
because people don't want change. People do not want
you
change.
know
Not genuine
until we
change.
if
Not
hmm
genuine
until
change. They don't
until we as people decide to
want
vote for,
change.
it's not going to
Yep.
happen because honestly, Bernie Sanders in the primary against Hillary Clinton, he was beating her. All of a
Both
sudden,
times he
out of
it was
nowhere,
last year and this year. Well, the last
you know,
go round and this go round.
and then all of a sudden she became the front runner. He was beating Biden. Biden was about to concede and not run thing, and then all of a sudden something changed and Biden became the front runner. You
Y'all want
don't
to
want
know
him.
something so crazy? When you mentioned Hillary, I remember being in high school And like I would always hear people say things like, "I'm just waiting for Hillary Clinton to run for office." I was like, really?
Hmm.
Like people
Hmm.
like was really like rooting for Hillary, even like even when I was in high school, middle school type
But
shit.
then she
Like
became a, but then she became a
people were
senator
like,
of New York, and she didn't do much.
Voting for her? No, you know why they wanted her? Let me tell you why they wanted her. They didn't want her for any reason other than the fact that I think a lot of people pitied her for what happened with her and
her
her
husband.
husband. And that to me
Mhm.
Oh,
is why
they.
people wanted her. They wanted her for that. They wanted her to be like, like they had that sympathy for her. So it was like, oh, if she became president, she's a good woman. So she could be a good president. That's where a lot of that energy came from. It wasn't
But I heard
Hmm.
reality.
she
You
was
know what I mean? It
also
wasn't the
running shit in
reality of some shit.
office. I heard she was running shit
That's
like
what they were saying.
even when
But
her
if she
husband was
if she
like,
was running that penis, then she wouldn't have had those problems. She clearly
I
couldn't handle the
mean,
presidential penis. How she gonna handle the state of the United States of America? Not to
I
sound mean,
Hmm.
but it's reality. Like you were
she
so
was
concerned
eager for
about
it
running
though.
shit in the office that wasn't yours. Listen, she was so busy about worried about shit that was happening in the office that had nothing to do with her. That shit had nothing to do with her. She was worried about his job,
Hmm.
right? What he doing, his bit instead of worried about what the fuck he was really doing. You know what I mean? So while you was over there running the office, as they're saying, because that's not all that doesn't necessarily have to be true. That's just what people say. We don't know because we weren't in that office, and he's not gonna say that she didn't run the office because he feel bad because he did her dirty. You know what I mean? So he gonna be like, yeah, my baby was doing her thing, and she could have just been doing nothing. You understand what I'm saying? So, but a lot of people have to remember that, like she clearly didn't, we don't they a lot of her vote to me was pity. Like a lot of people just pitied her and was like, you know what, give her a chance. And I
Yeah,
think that's why
So
everybody
she
wanted her
didn't
for
do a good
president.
job in the Senate, like when she was in New
no,
York. No,
she wasn't a good senator. She didn't stay there long. I think she might have been there 1 or 2 terms, and they kicked her out.
like they finna do De Blasio in June the
De
Oh God,
20th.
Blasio's,
no.
but that's the thing. What people don't realize, Hillary is not a good politician.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know anything about Hillary's politics, honestly. Like the only president I
Hold
remember
on a
ever
second.
growing up,
Hold
I
on a
started
second.
off with George Bush. So from George Bush
Hold on a second.
Which George
to
Bush?
Obama,
You talking about the second George
and
Bush?
now this shit. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
I've only experienced like or saw like
You want to know what's the sad part?
in my life.
Because George Bush, and his son backed Obama, and they backed Biden. They will not
Mhm.
back Trump or any Republicans that go against what they believe in. Mitt Romney doesn't back Trump.
Well, from what I've understood, the meaning of Republican and the meaning of Democratic have changed over the years. So these people
Yes,
who are Republican are old school Republicans, and people who are Democratic are like old school Democrats.
the
Um,
problem is that
but
the
I think
Republicans
the parties are changing, and
they
now they're
changed it.
putting up different, rules and regulations and certain.
But
Um,
if you do history, you would know the Republican Party was us, was the poor, was the middle class.
yeah, I
That was the
know.
Republic. That was the Republican Party.
Listen. Hence, why all the
It's
massacres
something
that was
something
plenty of black and
switched.
brown massacres
Something
involving.
switched. When that switch happened, all of a sudden the Democratic Party comes in. The Democratic Party wasn't for the people; it was for the
Because
rich. Something
black and
switched.
brown people
Now,
at that time were Republicans. I remember
exactly.
reading up on there's a where my mother lives now in Eufaula, Alabama. There was actually a massacre there in regards to voting. There was an ample amount of black Republicans. And it's so crazy, like reading up on your history, like where you from and shit like that, because like it was like a lot of black Republicans who were going to vote for the first time or some shit like that, and white people in Albany really wasn't having that, so
No,
there was a whole massacre like of black and brown bodies just
all of
because
a
they were
sudden,
Republicans. So
the now Republicans are for the rich,
yeah,
but now you
Mm-hmm.
have liberal Republicans. You have these different type of
conservative,
Republicans, conservative, yeah,
conservative.
and same thing with the Democrats. They still to me are for the rich, but now you
Yeah,
got the liberals, you
I
got the
just feel like
conservatives.
Republicans. I look at it as like Republicans being born rich and Democrats working their way up to be rich. I look at it that way.
True,
Like nowadays, anyway. Like Democrats are like the people who are gonna put in the work, who came from like a bad, well, not necessarily bad, but they came up from like a poor upbringing and like they went to school and they beat the odds and now they're in office and that sort of thing. I think that's
No.
what
John
Democrats are.
McCain's daughter spoke. I think she spoke at the convention, the Democratic
Child, what's
convention.
her name? I be watching. I be seeing her ass on the View. What's her name? It started with an M. Mallory. Nah, it ain't Mallory. It's
But they don't like Donald Trump.
damn. What's her
The McCain
name?
family hates Donald Trump.
Oh yeah,
Why?
because of what he said.
He
Oh
disrespected
yeah.
their father. Like
But my thing is, who is John McCain? Like, when I be
John
watching the
McCain's a
view,
war
I
vet
be seeing like his daughter just like get riled up because she is pro military and pro
because
Because
veteran
John
he
McCain
and
was in the
he
military,
was a prisoner of war at one time. He got Purple Hearts and all this stuff. Like he got captured by
and
the enemy.
Donald Trump says, I don't
Disrespected him.
trust people who got captured. Those aren't war heroes."
I'm sorry. I'm
Listen, Trump said a lot of shit during his debate
it's like,
during his
but when
first
you think
year
about the shit he
that
say,
it
it be
made
like,
me,
damn, like,
yeah, that
was
it
you
made me
really feeling
wonder
like he was getting compromised by
how did
terrorists?
he
Like,
really win? Like
You
this
want to
nigga
know how he
sat there
won?
and
Let me tell you
he
how he
sat
won.
there. He sat there and the news reporter said something and he said, you got the guy coming up to me going, I'm like, yo, this nigga is wild. And then he says, do you really want Hillary Clinton? Because it seems like every day she's just,
oh my
she's
god,
just, what is it he said? He said, her stuff coming out of her, and she's old. So it's like, I'm like, yo, this nigga is wild. He
yo,
is not gonna win the presidency with
yo,
this shit. And he won.
yo, just
But that shit that he
cutting
did
the
with the
fuck
reporter,
up.
that shit killed me. I'm like, nah,
It killed me
he killed
damn
himself.
good,
But he
especially when he
won.
man,
He
yo.
won. That's why I was so stuck. I'm like, yo, this is the same guy who sat there and said, the news reporter
You
came up
want
to
to
me.
know
He was
what's
like,
crazy
hit it,
though, boo
hit it,
boo?
hit it. I'm like, yo, huh?
I think it's the reality television. I think it's the reality TV for everybody. It's the reality TV. Like, it's shit like that you be like, damn, like that's not politically correct, but
Hmm.
it's entertaining. Like he speaks his mind, and at the end of the day, reality television is based on if you could speak your mind and get your point across, then you're that person. Like you are the Nene Leaks of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. You
Listen,
know what I mean?
they've
Like
been they've been saying it for years. Controversy sells.
Yes,
it does.
it
Mm-hmm.
sells.
It
If
does.
you sit
And
there and you make an
Trump
ass out of yourself and you make people believe certain things, you're
and
gonna get the
Trump did
votes.
exactly that.
No, listen, all he had to say was that Hillary Clinton has a separate phone with secret emails. Once they found the second phone and they found her emails, that was it. She was gonna lose the election.
But she
Hmm.
didn't. But it wasn't nothing. Because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know anything about the emails. Like I remember following the debate. Well, I didn't follow the debate. I'm not lying. Well, I'm gonna be real. I didn't follow it. Like I heard about it, that sort of thing. But what was the deal with the emails? Like,
The problem was that she used regular email for top secret things, and
Use
The
a
regular
separate
Mm.
phone,
emails, yeah, the regular emails don't have the same
encrypted.
security as,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, as a
encrypted.
government email would.
Okay. So it was
You know,
because who she was emailing that information to?
it was
Yeah,
just
that's
that
what
she
it was.
used it. It was more or less what she was emailing about. Even though it
It
wasn't
wasn't
nothing
wholesome.
crazy, it wasn't nothing crazy. It was still
So what was it
government
about? Do y'all
secret
know?
shit.
Certain
It was
things
government
like
secret
about
things,
like
you know,
what
certain
was one?
protocols and shit like that. Like she was emailing certain people about it, even though they were in the United States. Like they weren't no, they wasn't cross seas people or anything like that. She was emailing government officials about government official stuff, but she wasn't using a government official email, which is encrypted for certain safety, issues. So basically, any hacker could have hacked her shit and gotten mad information off
And
that.
that's exactly what they did. They
Okay.
hacked her shit and they put it on Wikipedia.
Hmm.
Yup. I remember the Wikipedia thing. I remember that. But
But
I mean, she
that's why
probably was
she lost
emailing
it.
them about Area 51. If we
Yeah,
really
but
think about
that's why she lost the election because people couldn't trust her. That's how they felt. I can't trust you. If you're taking government protocols and you're
it.
emailing
But
it
I
to the
mean,
senator,
were these
we don't know what's in the
conversations
emails.
like in regards of like I could see, like I get it. I understand like not using the proper email to talk about certain things. But it's like,
Yeah.
is that really enough to just,
Yeah,
be like try to stop
Because the
somebody?
material
Because
she
what I
had, the material that was going back and forth, I think one of the materials were a chain of command, and it had people's information on it. And that's how United States work off chain of command. Trump dies, Pence come in. Pence
this
dies,
coming
next come in.
vice
So if
president
you,
guys,
yeah, so
who's
everybody
in the
else,
cabinet? The
yeah, somebody else, but they
yeah.
got chain of commands. Now, if you put in your chain of command in danger, you understand, life at risk and all that,
Mm-hmm.
that's how you could destroy the government.
remember she was Secretary of State.
Hmm.
Was she the secretary? Yeah, she was Secretary of State under the end of Biden administration. She had to step down.
Well, I think I
Because and then they also had like, we don't know, like when they meet, like they be having meetings and all that too. We don't know when they meet, where they meet, until it's already like they already having it done. You understand? And
yeah.
Hmm.
when those meetings happen, there's security protocols, there's certain stuff that's happened, and that's all documents, that like all that shit that happens, everything the Secret Service does, every rally, every time Trump goes from his office to play golf and all that is secret documents that get documented. So if you get any piece of information like that out, whoever's information on that document is now in danger, because they got the whole protocol, they got the list, they know how many people is watching, they know when they're going to be moving, and they know. And sometimes, like in movies, they sit there and they have a whole row of cars driving, and the president's not in none of one of those cars.
Yeah.
And those
He
are
on a
those are
whole
the type of
summary.
documents.
Well,
Yeah, those are the type of documents that were in play, and
okay.
that's a violation. Like
That's
that's a security issue.
understandable. Like, cause I didn't
That's a
know
security
anything
issue.
about the emails initially. Like, I knew it was pertaining to something like important. I just didn't
Yeah,
know what
it's
the
not like
issue
she.
was.
Yeah,
But
it's not like she was sending Russia on launch or nuclear launch codes or nothing. She was just, talking business,
I mean,
government
then that
official
bitch would be
stuff
in
off of
jail.
that. Huh?
Then that bitch would be in jail. That bitch would
Hmm.
be going somewhere. We wouldn't know anything about Hillary Clinton no more. She would be erased.
They would have hugged her.
Erased.
They chopped her head off.
Fact. Fact. Oh my goodness. So there I kind of want to shift gears a little bit. And talk to y'all about, so I was at work, and for those of you who don't know, I'm not gonna let you know where I work, but I do work somewhere close to the facility of Columbus Circle, right? So my, bright ass just never really paid attention to the idea that Columbus Circle could, really be in uh I didn't think Columbus Circle really meant Columbus Christopher Columbus. Let's just say that.
Yeah, you never see that
Yeah,
statue?
so I was at Columbus Circle not too long ago because like one of my coworkers, we had a discussion, and he was like, Christopher Columbus, we got a whole statue over there by Columbus Street. I'm like, no, we don't. I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
we
we
do.
do not. I'm like, we would never do anything. This is New York City. We would never have a statue of Christopher Columbus in New
They
York
do.
Mm-hmm.
City. Man,
Mm-hmm.
I
So
was
how hurt
over
was
there
your
at damn
feelings?
Columbus Circle. I just so happened to look up.
How
Well, and that
hurt is
statue
your
is
Literally,
high.
feelings?
we have
And
a
that
whole
statue is high.
statue of Christopher Columbus in Columbus Circle. Now, my
And
question to y'all is this: why?
That's
because
part of
Understandable.
history.
Sometimes you just gotta remember.
because I got it. Let's remind y'all because
You gonna have to remind me.
when us black and Spanish people got equal rights, we
Mm-hmm.
never really changed the system.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nope.
henceforth, up until now, Christopher Columbus was always a hero because the white people found
Hmm.
America because of Christopher Columbus. Now we're breaking through. Christopher Columbus is next to go. Trust me, he's next to go. But it's not going to
Where
happen
is
yet.
it? Where is he going? Because, I was in disbelief. I was like literally
Listen,
arguing with this man. I was
yes,
like,
yes,
"There's no way in hell, New York City
he's
of
next
all
to go.
places,
Yes.
New York
The
City of
pro
all places."
the problem is that New York City is not trying to let that happen. They want you to give them time to take it out themselves.
It's not up to New York City though, and that's the thing. That's an
But
issue because New York City, for one,
But it is.
I
You
get
can
it.
say it's not, but it is
Malachi,
So,
because you have to.
Hey Malachi,
say hi.
Malachi,
Oh, I can't
Look,
see
say
Malachi.
hi.
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 hey.
Oh, your TV show went off? All right, come on, got you.
He don't want to talk to you. He gonna say
Good, sit
because y'all
down.
playing. He's like
Yeah,
y'all
that's all
playing
it
with me.
is.
I can't find it. He's
Lord,
like
you
y'all
was
playing with
saying
me.
something. I heard you saying
No, I
something. I
was
don't know if
saying
you hung
no. Okay,
up.
I was saying what I was saying. No, I'm talking to y'all. What
Oh,
I was saying was that it has to. The New York City has to
You're
change it.
welcome,
The
puppy.
people in New York City have to vote and say, you know what? This is what we want. We want this going. But the problem is that again, like Boo said, when we had a little bit of control, we didn't take this and say, oh, let's use this control. We didn't do that, and that's our problem as minorities and people with a little bit of we don't like we get a little bit of power and we like fuck it. We got a little bit. It is what it is, and that's the problem. We need to get off the fuck it. It is what it is, and each start putting in a little effort into making sure. You understand what I'm saying? My battery's dying too.
yeah. I hear that. I hear that. And you know what? It's crazy because when I asked that question, I thought of that same thing. I was like, damn, like we were all in Soho robbing, doing all this shit. Wasn't nobody over there in over there on Christopher Street trying to take down that damn statue. Like,
Now, hold on. Let me tell
and
you
and
something.
it's
They try
still
to,
hanging
they
No,
try to
up.
take that
it is.
statue.
Nobody cares.
They try to take that statue down. It's going to be war. Because right now, still in the eyes of the school system and everything like that, Christopher Columbus is a hero. Christopher Columbus is a hero, and that's it. They don't talk about the genocide. They don't talk about none of that. You don't know about the
No.
Trail of Tears. They trying to change the name. They trying to change the description of the Trail of Tears. They trying
How
to change
can
the
you change
description.
the
And
description
the
of the
and the
Trail of
and
Tears?
the
Like
listen, in the
that is
history
so
book, right?
crazy to
This is
me.
what they're trying to say. They're trying to change the wording instead of pilgrims taking the land and leaving the Indians to migrate, which was the Trail of Tears. They're sitting there trying to put it that the Indians gave the land to the pilgrims. They try
That's gonna run
to,
my blood
they try
pressure
to,
up. That's
yo,
going to
I'm
run
telling
my
you,
damn blood
look it
pressure
up
up.
because I seen that. I said, hell no. And there was a petition on it because a lot of the people, now this is where it goes up to the suburbs and the privileged people and all that. Those people were sitting there saying that in the history books, because even though they were kind of raw, they wasn't as raw as possible. You don't get all the raw footage until you hit like high school and college and all that, depending on the high school and college you go to,
You go
because
to
that's all different
exactly because
education.
I went
The
to
people were
college.
sitting there saying that in middle school, the books makes the pilgrims sound like evil people, which where they
No,
were.
boo boo, that's the thing. It didn't like for me growing up, they never put it to where pilgrims were evil. Like they never
Exactly.
made it that way. They made it seem as if pilgrims and Indians were good pals or some shit. Like
Yeah.
I remember
Mm-hmm.
Hater
That's what he's
People's
trying to say. So they're not gonna take
But
it down
they
like
for
so
that
I
now
remember
reason.
being at
they
high
trying to
school,
soften it
not
up.
high school. I remember being in middle school, elementary school. It was one of them, and there was a play about. I want to say it might have been Pocahontas, because you know everybody get that damn story mixed up.
Mm-hmm.
But it was something involving Pocahontas
Hmm.
and John Smith, and you know, because of their love, it was because of their love that the Indians and Pilgrims were able to live as one and all of this other shit. I didn't start realizing pilgrims were coming over to like steal land until I got into like maybe junior senior year of college into I mean no, I'm sorry, junior senior year in high school going into college when I then realized
Mm-hmm.
that okay, this ain't what y'all wasn't
Because
teaching us. Like this
because
ain't
by the
what
time that happens, because by the time
wow.
you get to that age, you're already mindset on their belief.
There you go.
So when they
There
give
you
you the
go.
raw footage, you
There
sit there
you
and you
go.
say, "Oh, well, I can understand." And the raw footage of it is that Christopher Columbus went to he found
Learn.
America. He found the islands first. It was Puerto
He
Rico,
found
I
the
think.
islands first.
He
Yup.
found Puerto Rico, Dion, all that.
Yup.
They sat there, and those first batch of people, they weren't nice to them. They sat there, they
Nope.
slaved them, they raped them, and all that.
Yup.
That's where the Puerto Ricans and Dominicans and Caribbeans come from. Left and
The
then came
Atlantic
back.
slave trade. Those were like one of the first
And then he
boats
came
to
back.
ever come
Uh
into
huh. And
America.
when he came
That's where
back,
they
the
took
problem
them.
was what happened was at first when he first went to those islands, those people were more of accepting of people floating across the boat, floating across the water. So they
Mm-hmm.
took them in without a problem. When they first landed into America out of the islands, those Indians were more on guard because those
Mm-hmm.
Indians were more having war with each other and all that. Like you understand, like they were more. I don't want to say savage, but they were more
Primal. No,
primal.
that's
They were more
exactly
they
what
were a
it
little bit
was.
more
They was
primal than the ones
primal.
on the islands. So they sat there, they
Right.
was a little bit more defensive. That's when he sat there and traded the guns, traded the chicken and all that, gave passed off the disease, and then in the middle of the night sat there and went and killed off the men. See what
Yep.
they did that shit in the middle of the night when they sat there, they let them rock. They said, okay, stay over there, we over here. And they sat there in the middle of the night, they went and killed a lot of people and took
Yeah.
Yep.
their land. And that's how they started it.
Yeah.
And what ended up happening was that because they gave them the guns, but they didn't know how to work the guns. Or they gave them guns that was empty and shit like that. You understand? So
Yeah.
when they sat there and they tried to fight back with the weapons that they was given that seemed better because they were better, they didn't know how to operate it. So they ended up smoking them. And that's when the Trail of Tears came from because they had to migrate to different
Migrate
land.
up. Mm-hmm.
But like I said, that's the history that when they first started teaching history and all that, they don't teach they wasn't teaching the white people. They was teaching them Christopher Columbus came and found us great land to live on
And
and whatever,
founded
whatever.
America.
And
Yup.
when we sat there, exactly, and then when we sat there and we said we want our equal rights, whatever, we deserve this. We were put into the school system and we didn't change the way they taught. So the way they taught, we absorbed their teachings, their knowledge, their rights. They would, you understand, what made them correct. And that's why it took so long for us to realize Christopher Columbus is actually an evil prick. Like,
He
he's an
started
asshole.
Yeah.
a fucking
He,
like,
yeah,
oh my
like his
god.
thing was he landed, and his thing was whatever women you could find is for you.
Rape them.
That was his
That's
shit.
it. Just rape
You
them.
Yeah.
understand? And 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 one of the things, that's why if you think about it, if you go to the islands, Jamaicans and Caribbeans, they are very high hateful for gay people. You want to know why? You know how they use, yo, stop that.
Yeah, they
You know
rape
how they
their
use,
men.
you
Yeah.
know, that's, they used
Yeah.
to sit there and they used to take their strongest men
Mhm.
and rape them on a post
Yep.
to take away their manhood, to show them
Yep.
that I'm stronger. That's why now to this day, Jamaicans don't like
Yeah.
homosexuality or none of that. That shit
If
is
y'all
forbidden
ever
to them.
Yep. If you ever heard about anything of Jamaica, Jamaica is known for this community of LGBT members called the
Hmm.
Gully. If y'all ever have a chance, go on YouTube, type in the Gully, and really look at how these people are living because of, like Boo said, like the hate of homosexuality, and this, how they
Yep.
demand the man. It's a
Yep.
little, it's
That's
crazy.
that's what they
It's
did.
crazy. Yeah.
That the history on it is, and the history is right there. That's why what made me pay attention to all that and really try to do my research on it and try to figure out what happened was because I couldn't understand why I'm in a city, right? We all live in we live in New York City, but I run into different people who went to the same schools, well, not the same school as me, but went to school in the city with me, but our teachings were different.
Different. Right.
And I'm like, I don't understand
Right.
this. If history is history, then why is it not the same? You understand? You getting taught this, I'm getting taught another thing. And that's what
I
made me
agree
look
with
into
that.
it because I try to find there was only one time where they had it was a bill passed for teaching. It was but it wasn't really for teaching. It was for the the economic standpoint because
Okay.
you had teachers that used to freelance. You know, you used to go in and they sat there and the teacher would teach you what he knows, but how he wanted to do it. And that's when they sat there and they came up with the quid pro quo. I forgot what the bill was for, but basically now teachers have to do the test because some teachers wasn't testing their students because they understood some people are good with tests, some people aren't good with tests.
Yeah.
They just teach them and you learn how you learn. You understand? Whatever
Yeah.
works for you. They sat there and because that caused conflict with a lot of other schools. Oh, it's not fair that my kids got to go through testing, their kids don't go through testing, but their
Or
kids is graduating, my kids
the
aren't.
difference
So
between
now
public
they
school and
have a
private school.
criteria. Yeah, now they have a criteria to meet at a certain way in a certain time.
Cause I
And still
remember
with that, the
growing up.
teachers are still different.
I remember growing up, and it's funny that you say that, Boo Boo, because growing up in the country, we had public school. Everybody went to Early County. Everybody went to Early County High School. However, there was only a certain amount who went to this private school. I forgot the name of it. Um, and I do think that the teachings, like you said, are way different because we had a friend who started off in public school, but he ended up going to the private school, and we were always, keeping contact. We were always talking. Like, a lot of the shit that I noticed he would start saying just like started throwing me off. Like, I felt as
Mm-hmm.
if when he went to that private school, I felt as if they told him the truth as a white boy. Because he was white and everybody at that public school was white. They were, they had money, that sort of thing. So I think their teachings was a little bit more raw as far as you know them, like, realizing the privilege that they have, and them realizing, like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, it was my ancestors who came over here and did this. It was my ancestors who started this. So it's like, I do agree with what you're saying when it comes down to the teachings and how we are definitely taught a little bit more different. I think in public school they try to hide, not necessarily hide, but they sugarcoat
They
it.
soften the blow. Yeah.
They keep it cute. We don't want a whole group of public high schoolers, starting a revolution and no shit. But I think they
Mm-hmm.
sugarcoated it a lot in public schools rather than like in private. They were a little bit more raw. That's where you get the snotty nosed white boy and the prissy white girl, and it's funny. It's funny that you say that. That's all I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
But
I
damn,
remember growing up, my
School
mother
and
showing
test.
me. What happened, Laura?
Yeah, macho.
what you
So I
say,
No, I
remember.
was
Laura?
saying
What
while y'all
you
talking
saying?
about test. No, I was like while y'all talking about test. I don't know if you heard, but they have those that go to school in New York. No, they have a specialized test that you gotta take to go to certain high schools when you come from junior high school. The test was supposed to be taken like sometime last week. They canceled it due to COVID. The community people are saying that maybe it's time that they get rid of this test and a lot of kids that are just doing well in school to go to these schools because they feel like it's not fair. That's why a lot of white and Asian kids are allowed to go to like Brooklyn Tech and schools like that.
Oh,
Because both of those don't
child.
talk about that specialized test.
Mm-hmm.
I
So
agree. I
I was
agree with
watching
that.
that on the news the other day, and I was like, well, listen, I don't agree 100%, and let me explain to you why.
Mm.
Um, certain things for like, let's say Brooklyn Tech. Let's just use Brooklyn Tech for example. Certain things are very not that they're asking you about crazy. They're asking you about math. Math is very basic. It doesn't matter what your race is. Math is cut forward straight. It's not. You understand what I'm saying? As complicated as other
It's a
things might be, I
universal
do agree
language.
that there are certain
Yeah.
questions that might hinder. Yeah, math is a universal language. And like you said, we learn the same things basically. So social studies is pretty much the same. Excuse me. So certain things are like basic. So I don't feel like they need to cancel this test because if you're genuinely very intelligent or very, quick in learning, you will study for these things. Like the kid they were talking about, he was studying his ass off for these tests. When I say studying his ass off, he was upset that it wasn't going down. He had been studying probably since like the seventh grade to try to pass because he had a school he wanted to go to. And it's dedication that makes you want to do what you need to do to get into these things. And that's the two I
Yeah.
find that we will justify everybody else's stopping us, but we don't say what our part in it either. Okay, yeah, people can stop you, but you have to also put an effort. You can't just allow the first block to stop you. You got to find a way around it. And since we're very
Mm-hmm.
resourceful, we can. It's just that we choose to then, like this kid. This kid is a minority kid in a minority neighborhood. He's not no rich white kid complaining about the test not coming out. He's a kid who studied his ass off for this test. You understand what I'm saying? And he wants to
Mm-hmm.
know. He doesn't want them to hit him with a surprise like one week next weekend is a test. And he has that right because he's been studying his ass off to pass it. And that's what I'm saying. So like, even though I agree with you say like certain information that smart schools they provide us differently, I do understand that we're not all provided with the proper history, but we also don't take the time to learn like we're learning things here and there because somebody else told us, because somebody else said this, but we're not doing our own research and getting our own history out there.
Mm-hmm.
I agree,
So
Laura.
that like
I
Well, we
agree
Joe
with
got.
that.
has five
It
kids,
is up to us
and
sometimes. Yeah.
we're not teaching our kids that. We're allowing the school to teach our kids the same shit that we were taught. And we're like, all right,
Mm-hmm.
well, I learned it this way. Let them learn it this way. Instead of turning around and saying, you know what? No, that's what the teacher's telling you, but that's what they want you to learn for that book. But that's not what really happened. This is what it is. And we're not doing that to our kids. We're not teaching our kids. We're just allowing some white person or some person who studied off of a book to teach them the same shit we was taught. And you know it's true because they changed the way
Mm-hmm.
you do
That's
math.
true.
They simplified the math to power shit. And
Oh
I look at it
yeah.
and I be like, what the fuck is that? That's a table.
Yeah, I
And
saw
why are
him
we
after
doing
the
a
other
table
day.
for no, but we that's because with it.
We
Oh, they
just
got it the way
obedient.
they want to. No,
Yeah.
yeah, that's our
Like I was
problem. We need
teaching,
to, we want to not.
I taught my kids that there was a, well, my kids are
Lord, that
taught
was
that
a
there's
good
been
point,
only.
Lord. That was a real good point.
She right.
Like
My
maybe
kids
it's
was
up to
taught
us to start. Go
school
ahead, Georgia.
school starts school start with us at home first.
Get off.
School starts with them kids with us. When my 14-year-old daughter came to me and said, "Dad, yeah, so we only had one black president." No, we didn't. Like what? You didn't know that? George Washington wasn't the first president.
I thought you said first black president.
Obama wasn't the first black president.
Who was the first black president then, Joey?
I forgot his name.
I think his name
Joey,
was
because
George
there.
Culver or something like that. But you got to do the
What?
research on him because I saw something about it that he wasn't president of the United States. That this
He
was
was
before the
George
president.
United States was the
Washington
United
Carver
States.
or some shit?
He was
I think
president of
so.
the colonies. Like he was president like of the
Yeah,
colonies or something like that.
you got
George
to do the
Washington
research and make
Carver.
sure. Yeah, you got to do the
Yeah.
research and make sure because I
Well,
I
we
think
had
I saw
somebody
something
black
that
that was there that ran those 13 colonies, but basically
yeah.
wanted to.
You talking about in the beginning when God
Yes.
created heaven and earth, Joey? We're not talking about no
No,
far
nobody
earlier.
talk about when God created heaven and earth. Do your
But no,
research.
like you're
Stop.
you're talking about the beginning of the 13 colonies, right?
Yeah,
But we weren't. But they didn't. No, listen. Like presidency
but
didn't
that's the.
start until after that. So we don't count that.
You're not gonna count that, but
Yeah,
he
but
was
why
there.
not?
He was
But I
there.
listen. I
How you
don't
doing?
know. That's just how they started. Like the very first president of the United States didn't
Yeah,
date
but
back
that's
to
what
the
Joey's
13
saying.
colonies.
Like that. Yeah, but
That
just
wasn't the
because they
first
started
president.
like that, yeah, but he just agrees. We just agreed that the way they did it was wrong. So if you're saying that, then you agreeing that it's okay to follow their rules. Granted, that's how they count everything. Just like somebody said, we use is it kilometers? We use
Well,
miles, but it's easy to use the kilometers.
it is
Did you know that?
very easy to
The
use
metric system. The
kilometers.
metric system. We we use one thing in the United States that's complicated for no reason
Listen,
instead of using
I'm
Everybody
what
else.
everybody else uses.
right.
So we,
I was just confused as far as like him saying that there was another black president other than Obama
but
because
that's what
again
he
that's
said.
just
But there
Okay,
was. But at the end of the day, he still was a president. He still ran this certain part of the country. Because at the end of the day, it was still the 13 colonies. He still was the
listen. I'm
president
not
of those
fighting you
13.
on that. I mean if we're gonna be honest and upfront and talk about the entire history, then we gotta talk about the entire history, including the first president of those 13 colonies. I'm not fighting you on that. I think it's
yeah.
But
definitely we
but
definitely need change
this
in
was
the education system.
this is what society won't
Definitely.
tell you that. Growing up, I didn't know that until somebody pointed it out to me in a book,
Yeah.
in the encyclopedia. Like what? Huh?
Let me tell you something.
That
Growing
what?
up, my whole life growing up until maybe 2018, 2017. No, I'm lying. Maybe a little bit earlier than that, but you'll see. My whole life growing up, I thought all inventors was white.
Oh, what?
Or the what?
All inventors were white.
Me too.
Everything that was invented, everything that
Yo,
was
me
created
Oh,
was by a
too.
white
Me
man.
too. Me
That's
too.
what I
Me
thought.
too.
That was growing
Me
up.
too.
You understand? This is but that's why I'm saying like what people don't a petition is a strong thing. If you could get half the city, if you could get most of the city, if you could get the petition to switch up the school system to go a certain way and to teach these things that are important to a diverse culture, you get a certain amount of people to do it. They're gonna change the system. We just have to do it. We're already in the system.
Yeah.
We're
yeah.
already in the system. Now it's for us to change the system. And nobody's making that step to change the system yet.
Now,
Everybody's trying. They're trying the wrong way. No, that rioting shit ain't gonna work out not all the time.
I
It doesn't work
agree.
with everything,
I
but
agree.
they're trying,
With the
but we need to
kids.
figure it out. And I think if
Yeah.
we petition to switch up the system on what is taught
Okay.
and at what age too. Because me personally, I think all grades from PK to 10. I mean, from pre-K to fifth grade should be taught basic stuff.
Fuck that.
With
The
all that,
younger
right?
the better.
Junior
Let you
junior
kids
high
see the
school.
white people for who they really are. Fuck all of
Nah,
that. Fuck
you
all
keep
of
the
that.
up to fifth grade the basic stuff. Learn how to use a map, shit like that. Like learn geography,
Yeah.
shit like that. Whatever.
Confidence and all
History.
that.
Keep the history on like the United States, like what started the United States and shit like that. And then when you get to junior high school, you get into the raw details on slavery and the real raw details on the
Yeah.
slavery and all that. And then when you get to
Christopher Columbus, all of
yeah,
it.
that's junior high school. And then when you get to high school, you get into the raw details on um not the slavery, but
You know who could have really taught
the
me
Yeah.
too?
after the segregation, like shit like that. You understand what I'm saying? Like have it that high all and that all schools are taught the same thing. So you have one kid from Minnesota and one kid from Oklahoma, and when they meet, they could sit down and have a conversation, and they know what the hell they're talking about because their schools teach the same shit.
The same thing, yeah.
It's the same
You know,
history.
Google, I really agree with that. I do because even like having conversations like this, like I remember that I think there was one time where, we were talking about growing up in school or something, and somebody mentioned something. I was like, really? I was like, what? I was so confused. Like, I
Let me
think
tell you
that's
something.
I think that'll be the start of change. Like,
Hmm
May our uncle Andy
how
rest
these
in
kids are
peace.
being taught in school first.
May our
hmm
uncle Andy rest in peace. But that man right there loved history.
Who?
Uncle
Andy.
Andy.
And oh,
Yeah, he loved history. And he was
You
in
said he
jail.
loves
And
what?
not in jail, me growing up.
history.
History.
Okay.
He told me a lot of things that they won't teach the kids in school. Like for instance, why is Abraham Lincoln on the on a copper penny?
Oh, I know about that.
I don't know.
Cause why is the penny brown and
Yeah.
why is it the less
Oh,
why
because
is it the
No, why
less
is
he
current?
Abraham
freed the
Lincoln? No. Why is Abraham
yeah.
Lincoln on the copper penny?
Because he
Oh,
Why
I
was
is
don't
for
know.
black
Abraham?
people. He was for this. He signed the
Because he
Emancipation
freed the slaves,
Proclamation.
and
It was
But why
because
did he free the slaves? Well, why did he free the slaves?
you notice he's the only one I don't
facing
know
Facing
why.
the
westward or something.
opposite.
I don't
Yeah.
know why. You know, he's the
No,
only one on
why
that.
did
You
he
know,
free the slaves?
he faced the opposite direction
Why
Hold
did he
on,
free the
Laura's
slaves?
speaking. Laura's speaking. Hold on. What you
because he
say,
liked
Laura?
them. Maybe he got away.
No. Why
No, I
Abraham
said I
Lincoln
don't
freed the
know why he
slaves?
freed the slaves. I said maybe
Why
he got
Well,
Abraham
I
stuck.
Lincoln
know
freed the
Abraham
slaves?
Lincoln isn't the saint that we all think he is. Yes, he might have signed the Emancipation Proclamation, but he was still a slave owner. He still owned slaves,
Yeah.
so it's not like,
But do you
he's
know?
this Joe
Yeah, but
Biden of 2020. Um,
he wanted to send the slave. He wanted to send every black person back to Africa. That's why he freed the slaves, so everybody could go back to Africa.
I never knew that. Like, I knew why he was the only one facing the opposite way. I knew
Because he
why the
supported
penny
them.
was
On
brown.
the
I
cover.
knew why it was the lesser currency. Like, why is it only 1 cent? Like, I know those things, but I never knew like why he. I just
He
thought it
wanted
was
to send.
because
He wanted to send Africans back to Africa. They
I
kept.
didn't know that.
Everybody kept complaining about America and slavery
So what he
and
was
all this.
gonna do with the white people that was living? Never mind.
Nothing.
Never
He
mind.
was going to
Listen,
send what's called it back to Africa.
listen.
That's all he
Let me
wanted
tell
to
you
What was
do.
he
something.
gonna send the
Let me
white
tell you
people?
something. You
Before
said
he
he was
was
sending
able
black
to
people to
announce
Africa. He
it, he
wasn't sending
got
white.
assassinated. Before
Wait,
I couldn't
Laura,
But
hear.
listen, let me explain to you
he's
something
saying
that
something.
Christina said. Let me say something to you. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can hear you
Yeah.
now.
Okay. So the thing with something that Christina you said. everybody needs to like. You're like, oh well, he wasn't the saint. Nobody is a saint. Everybody has sinned. Some of them though, they see the problem of the ways and they try to make a difference. So Abraham Lincoln is not exempt from it. Neither is Barack Obama. People go with the intentions of trying to change things, and sometimes they realize you really can't change something, or you can only change a little bit, not a lot of it. And I feel like that's the problem we have with everybody. We want to judge people for being fucked up, like for making a mistake. You know what I mean? You can't judge somebody for making a mistake, and I don't judge like even like I don't like he. I'm pretty sure he owned slaves. Most white people own slaves. It was not that many white people that didn't own slaves. You understand what I'm saying? It just wasn't. But he tried to find a way to freedom. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
He tried. He freed them, and he did his best in whatever he could do. So sometimes we have to stop saying, "Oh well, this person wasn't a saint," and look at the little bit they did try to do. Doesn't make them a saint. Doesn't make them God. It just means that they did something, and whatever he did made his own people do him dirty on the coin. You understand? Even though land of copper land being worth more, some shit like that, but they so stupid. But that's what I'm saying. Like you can't always think they were like saying, I see him. They weren't a saint, like not everybody's perfect and they all commit, as who was it that told me, whoever has no sin, cast
Yeah,
the first
whoever.
stone. Like we all
Yeah,
have our sin.
that's the first
We all
one.
doing we all slacking.
But it's to a certain
We
extent,
all
Lord. I'm not
slacking. We
even
all
gonna
do it.
lie.
It's not
Like
we can sit here.
to an extent, like me personally, I guess I'm speaking in terms of living in 2020, being born in the 90s. So it's like I can't really. I have questions about that. Like me personally, I just don't think a president should have slaves. But that's the way things went back in the day. I can't really talk about shit that happened back then because, I'm not living back then like that. However, it just don't sit right with me that the person who's supposed to be like this savior was, you know, he had his flaws too.
But
How many
that's
things do
everybody.
people? How many things do minority? Let's use Michael Kors. Michael Kors does not like black people owning his bag, correct?
Listen,
He
I
made that
listen, Lord.
racist
I can't
statement.
even lie about that now.
No,
Look,
listen,
look,
listen,
look.
listen.
Look now, look.
Look, no, 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 no,
Cause
no, no, no. Listen, listen. He does not like black people wearing whatever he said. He said something to that extent. I didn't hear it. It was told to
That they
me.
take out
I
the
thought I
value of
Now,
his
heard. I
shit
how
thought
or
many
something like
black
that.
people have whatever they do? How many black and minority people have their stuff? It's the thing is that that's what I said. We don't never boycott or do what we supposed to do as a whole.
Exactly.
Slow down because you got to turn. We all
look at
have to
us
take
talking about
responsibility
Michael
for our
Kors, so
actions.
I got a whole Michael
If
thing right here.
exactly
But
if Uggs, and I have two or three, if Uggs turned around and
hello
said right
now.
now, when I hate, listen, if they turn around and said I hate when I see black and Hispanic people in my clothes, in my Uggs, oh my God, they be making my shit look
That's
fucked
not what
up.
he
They can't
said,
even afford
Lord.
more than one pair. Let's say Uggs.
Can I
No, no,
specify
I
what he
didn't say
said?
that's what I said. If Uggs, no, listen, listen, listen. I'm talking about Uggs.
That's not entirely what he said.
I'm saying if Uggs not listening to me. I'm not talking about what he said. I'm saying if
But you're kind
Uggs
of
said
basing
that,
an
if the
opinion
people that make
around.
Uggs said they do not like black, I'm saying that as minorities, we do not stop supporting these people who don't support us. We still
Mm-hmm.
support them because it's what everybody's doing. So
Right.
what's wrong with Abraham Lincoln still doing what everybody was doing? You understand what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to say to you. It's not to say I'm saying that we all do the same thing. We do not turn around and say, "Oh well, you know what? This person don't fuck with us. We're not fucking with them." We don't do that. What we do is, "Oh, that was fucked up. I'm not buying nothing for that, nothing like that for a couple of weeks." Then everybody like, "Oh, did you see that new bag?" And you like, "Oh, let me go get that bag because everybody got it. I gotta be down with the crew." That's
I
what I'm trying
agree.
to say.
I agree
We
with
all have
everything
to
you're
sit there
saying
and
to
say,
that
take
extent.
responsibility for our actions. Yeah,
Hence H&M. H&M and that I'm the coolest
There are a lot of colors in
monkey in
the
the jungle shirt.
I
Yeah,
think they stretch it with. I think that was a stretch.
and
I ain't gonna front.
I ain't
That's a stretch, man.
let
Like,
me say
come
this.
on.
Let me say
If
this
I
if
about that
think
if they
Michael
would have
Kors
sat there
thing.
and put that on a white boy, then nobody would have flipped out. Like at the
No,
end of the
because
day, that
I
little
think
Michael
that
nigga
Kors
was
not referring
fly.
to his monkey
That little
though.
boy was that little boy was fly with that color. That color went with his skin tone. That shit looked great on him. It's just
Look,
that they sat there. That was the shirt that said the coolest monkey in the jungle. That was
it
the
was a
shirt.
wrong move. It was a wrong
It,
move.
no, they
It was
made
a
it the
wrong
wrong
move.
move. They
It
made
was
it
a
the
wrong
wrong
move.
move. There was nothing wrong with that. Cause let me tell you something. If they didn't ever flipped out about that, if not one person would have said anything about that, I guarantee you'd have seen mad black kids with that shirt on.
I mean,
uh-huh.
I don't know
Their
about that. I
parents would
think
People
be
are
some
sheep.
like,
mamas,
oh,
I
that
People
think
shit is
some
so
parents would
cute.
have been like, nah.
people are sheep. I'm telling you because there was nothing wrong with that shirt. There was absolutely nothing wrong with that shirt. The fact is that you got to look at it from you deal with makeup. You deal with makeup, so you understand skin tone, and certain colors go with certain skin tones. Like you can't put
Yeah.
a dark person that's purple, like the nigga damn near purple with I don't know. Think of something that I can't think of. I don't know. But you understand what I'm trying to say? At the end of the day,
No,
certain colors
absolutely.
go
And I
good with
get it.
certain skin tones. That kid, his skin tone with that green shirt was fire. The shirt was a cool shirt for a kid. Out of nowhere, it took one activist to sit there and say, that's racist. And they sat there, and a bunch of sheep sat there and said, that is
I
racist.
think
It was so racist that H&M dropped their prices by 50, 60, 70, 80%, and they sold out.
I think what it is boo boo.
Uh-huh.
I think it's
And
the
everybody bought that
representation.
shit.
Hold on, wait. I think it's the representation. Like true enough, people might not have went so hard on it if it was a white dude, a white baby who had this shirt on. You know what I mean? But it's like black folks are looked at as monkeys when it comes down to certain situations. And that was a racial slur at one point, calling a black person a monkey. So I don't necessarily think it was I think it was just the change, the want of change. Like for one, it ain't no reason why a black kid gotta be in a damn shirt that has something to do with a monkey. You know what I mean? Like it was just the change that people
I
wanted. Like,
know a lot of, first of all,
you ain't
first of all,
gotta do
first of all,
that.
first
Just
of all,
put them in
first
a
of all,
different shirt.
every kid, every kid that we had, all baby kids, and I'm pretty sure Boo Boo could say his kids too, have had some type of monkey pajamas on their kid.
Yes.
Because when you
Listen,
buy baby kid clothes, you know that goddamn
It
elephant, the damn
happens. I'm
monkey,
sorry.
it's the same fucking thing.
listen.
They put that on
Scratch
every
that.
kid. Your siblings have had it. Everybody's had
Listen,
it.
Scratch.
I
It's a
don't wanna
monkey.
Scratch.
talk too much
Look,
about
hold
this.
on.
I don't wanna
Listen to
talk
this
too much
one.
about this. I don't
Scratch
wanna
the
talk too much
kids and
about
the
this.
zoo animals. You got grown ass men, black and Spanish men, walking around paying $200 for a shirt that says a bathing ape. A bathing ape.
Oh yeah.
That's cool. I'm a grown ass man walking around with ape, a bathing ape. That's the name of it. And I paid you $200 because how many times do you see a bathing ape? That's
Hmm.
cool. But the flyest monkey in the jungle ain't cool. The fuck out of here. This is what I mean.
It's
People be
the
stretching.
wording.
People ain't
Look,
true to
I
their
don't want to
words.
talk
And
too much
have
about that one. I don't
people
want to
be
talk too much.
stretching. People be stretching it. People ain't true to their words, and 90% of these niggas are sheep. It just takes that one person to find the people to make the move for them, and they
Look, you
making the
want to
moves for the
know
wrong
something? But
things.
I kind of want to clarify that Michael Kors situation. So,
All right,
Laura,
here we
I,
go.
I know, I know it's not the first time we done seen knockouts. Like, New York is known for it. Hell, I know some boosters that done got their shipments from New York. You feel what I'm saying? So when
Mm-hmm.
Michael Kors made his
I
statement,
know.
when Michael Kors made his statement, he was basically referring to how black women would often
buy the knockoff shit. But it's all about support. He was just like, black women would rather go to the beauty supply store and get their Michael Kors rather than like buying the actual thing. Um, I'm not gonna lie.
But
Uh,
there's not only black women
there's
that do that.
plenty. Listen, I have to say it. I have to say it. And listen, my friends gonna see this shit and they gonna know. They going to fucking know. In Blakely, Michael Kors was the name. The fucking name. If you had a Michael Kors bag, you had to post the price tag to let them know it was real. You had to let them know. So it was like, seeing somebody walk with a fake Michael Kors bag. It's like, bitch, we gonna clock you. Bitch, what you doing with that fake ass Michael Kors bag? You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like we've seen it in our own community, and I think the issue was that he called black women out for it. You feel what I'm saying? Like, we
But
see this
let me
shit
tell you
happen
something.
all the time within our own community. Hell, I know I done bought a knockoff bag before shit and walked around that bitch like it was brand spanking new, like I just got it off the shelf. You feel what I'm saying? I think the issue was that
Let me
Michael
tell you
Kors,
something.
when he was like
Yeah,
black
but he
women,
called out.
and
But that's not the only people. If and let me tell you, as somebody who's worked on Canal Street, the
look, I can only talk for
epicenter
myself.
of bootleg. That's what I'm saying. As somebody who worked on Canal Street and
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
epicenter of bootleg shit, you can find
Mm-hmm.
anything. Them white motherfucking people come down from other
Yeah,
fucking states
yeah.
and be on Canal Street copping them fake bags. So
Oh
is it
yes.
racist?
Oh
It
yes.
was
Mm-hmm.
racist because he did not say I don't like when people buy knockoffs instead of supporting me. He said I don't like when black. He didn't say people take his ass to Canal Street. I give him a uniform to put on, and he just stand in that motherfucking corner and just
Right.
watch how many
Yeah.
white people go into those spots to get they knockoff Michael Kors and they knockoff Gucci and they knockoff and get it for the low
But
low,
listen, that's the
paying damn
same.
near
That's
what
the
he's
same
selling
thing when
it for
people be
because
like.
they fucking stupid.
That's the same thing when people be like, "Oh, black people be on food stamps," not even realizing white people are the main contributors and like they are the main people who
I
go
know.
after food stamps and stuff.
Look at
So
them Jewish motherfuckers.
it's like, hey, I'm just speaking
It,
personally. When I say that, I'm
but
speaking
that's what I said.
personally
So
from
it
where
doesn't.
I'm
You can't
from.
say.
Like, I know black women to go out and buy these fake bags. Hell, I was one of them who did it. So it's like, I, however, it's not right for him to call black women out on it. I think that was the issue. Like, the fact that he didn't say women in general, the fact that he was like black women, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
He should have.
I think that is where the issue stems from. However, if he would have been like women in general,
Let me tell you the dumb shit
then
about
I,
it.
I don't think it would have been as bad.
Let me
But
tell you the dumb shit about
yeah,
what he said to me. What he said to me made it like I
Glory, you're breaking up.
yeah, Laura, you mad laggy right now. She might be doing something. I don't know, but yeah, y'all,
But
that was
but
crazy.
yes.
That was
So like I
crazy.
said, history starts with us. We gotta teach our own kids history.
cough.
Yeah,
If we don't teach our own kids history, we're gonna just let them learn from how they think, how this
yeah.
is,
Sorry, I
how
was
that
Let
talking
you.
And
is.
loud.
that's why I don't listen. That's why I don't agree with that saying children should be seen and not heard. Because I mean, personally, I just feel like having a child around adult intellectual, it expands their way of thinking. How like
No, I
sometimes a
agree.
baby's born and we be talking Google Gaga, like
No, I
Nah, we
agree.
cut that
Children
off.
should be
so that
heard.
they can understand. But like, certain
Let me tell you
conversations,
something. Ever
I
since
agree.
this
it's
baby,
bad for a child to be,
let's
because
no, this
for
baby,
instance, it's conversations like this. I don't think it's bad for a child to be involved. Or like hear
I
what
agree.
we have to
Children
say,
should be
or
seen and not heard. I agree.
Girl,
Children should be
no,
seen. And
no, no.
No, but
let me tell you
this
why I
bait.
agree. Let me tell
Why,
you.
Laura?
Because the problem with these kids is they don't know they fucking place.
And you want to know
Babies
why they
raising
don't know their
babies.
place? Because they
You knew
other
your place
friends
as a
think the
kid.
same way. They other friends are grown in the
No.
pants. They other friends are wet behind their ears. And, that's who they're
Listen.
going
You
to.
knew. You knew
Mm.
what that shit meant. When your mother said that shit to you, you sat the fuck down. You shut the fuck up. When you
Fine,
tell
I
that to
should
these
Mm-hmm.
have,
kids,
but
I'm
I don't
grown.
think that's
So what I'm saying. But that's why they should be seen, not heard, because they need to be smacked. Now these teenagers now need to be fucked up. We didn't. They get away with shit
Lord.
because
It's
we
because they are going to their friends. They are having conversation and
listen.
conversing with their friends who
Let
have
me
older
explain something to
brothers,
you.
who have older sisters, who's putting them onto certain things, and kids pick up on that. Teenagers pick up on that. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
but
I just
to allow to allow kids to be in a certain type of conversation, first off, once you allow
I think
kids to be in a
it depends on the
conversation,
conversation. It
whether
does.
whether whether it's a
There's
basic
no.
conversation between two adults, every time adults talk, kids gonna want to be a part of it. And then
They're gonna
the
think they
thing
can.
is now when these kids are now a part of those conversations and you just sit there and let them rock, you let them be a part of the conversations, they tend to grow a little bit more, like be more active with
Fast,
things.
fast.
Yeah,
It's not
basically, like
fast though. I
it
think it
is.
just broadens their perspective. Like
No.
I don't think it's
Give
Yeah,
them a
but
fucking book.
if you open their eyes too quick onto reality, they won't know how to take that information. They won't know how to
what does
act.
that
And
even
then you
mean, boo boo? What does that
right
even
now,
mean?
right now, Marcus, right, his baby mother has a friend who has
Hmm.
a 13-year-old girl, right?
Okay. Right.
This 13-year-old girl, now this was she was a kid who had a kid. So she allowed her 13-year-old daughter, while growing up, to be in adult conversations and all this and everything, right?
That's why I say
Whatever,
depending on the
right?
conversation.
even even depending on conversation, she allowed her to be more adult interacting than just being a child. You understand? Come to find out that this girl is under 15 having sex with people that's 20, 21 years old.
But that is not the reason why, boo boo. Don't sit up here and
But
say the
Yes, it
reason
is.
it's
why is
Lord,
because even
Christina,
in women
Hold on, hold on,
conversations,
hold
that
on, hold on, hold on,
happens
hold
grown
on.
people
that happens
conversations.
that happens with,
Okay.
especially with females, because females for some reason
What?
are way more mature than men. Females are way more mature than men. They mature
I
quicker
agree.
than men.
Boo
I
boo.
So
Okay.
agree.
when
I'm
you
gonna
got
give an
them
example.
as
I'm gonna give an example. I'm gonna agree with Boo Boo because I have a 16
So
year old.
teenagers.
Listen, hold on, Kristen.
Okay,
Hold on.
explain.
I
You
have a
gonna have
16. I have a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old
okay,
females,
okay.
and they moms believes your concept that they should have an opinion. So from the
Hmm.
age of 7, 8, and 9, they was always around, and adults was talking. And when they was told to move from thing, their mother told them to come back. No, you can sit here. Don't worry about it. My baby moms gets into arguments with them because they don't want to do what they're supposed to do because they have an opinion, but they don't get up and pay a bill. They don't get
Uh-huh.
up and
Cause
sit
they don't
there.
have to. They
Listen,
don't have to.
first of all,
Do
by
it.
the age of 16 in North Carolina and in a lot of states, by the age of
But
16,
don't put that
listen,
pressure
listen,
on her.
listen,
Don't put that
listen.
pressure on
But she
her.
should. But first of all, she don't have an opinion if you don't pay a bill.
Stop.
You
Facts.
don't have an
Stop.
opinion. You don't
Stop.
have an opinion if you
Facts.
don't
I
pay a
cannot
bill.
have this conversation.
Facts.
I
You cannot
cannot
pay
have
a
yes,
this
bill.
conversation.
You can't pay a
Cause
bill.
it's
If
Facts.
you
given.
pay a bill,
Cause boo
then you
boo.
can have
Cause
an
what you
opinion.
just said was
that's
that
like, yo,
it's
you got to think of it
women
like
who are
this.
out having sex at an early age and stuff
My
because
daughter
they're
disrespecting an
involved in
adult.
adult
Hold on.
conversations.
She disrespecting
Again,
an adult. She
It,
disrespecting an
I'm not.
adult because she felt like she could. And then when we told her she couldn't,
But let me explain
oh
to you
well,
what why.
mommy,
Let me
let's
explain to you. Let me explain to you why Christina's not gonna understand what you're saying. And here's what I want to explain to Christina. The problem when you allow kids in adult conversations, let's say you say, oh, certain conversations my child could be a part of, right? And you allow them. When you're not around and adults are talking, they still feel like they have that privilege. And that's where the error lies. You don't explain to these kids that you're only allowed to have this conversation with adults. The rest you cannot have. What you do is you tell them you can have conversations with adults, and guess what? That's all they hear. Because I'm going to use Dawn for example. Love Dawn to death. Dawn has been allowed to entertain people. So Dawn's mouth, because he talks his mother recklessly, he talks to
Mhm.
everybody recklessly. So it took a while for him to understand that he's a fucking child. You do not pay, and I agree with Joey. You don't have the right to have a conversation with me or have an opinion about how I run my house. You don't
Yeah.
have that right. You don't have that
It's
right to
y'all
have an
old
opinion.
head. It's
It's
y'all
not
old
always, it's
head.
reality. If
Nah,
It's
you
I'm gonna put
it's
it.
y'all old heads at this
Here's
point.
here's how here's the best
It's
way for you to
y'all old
understand
heads
it,
at this
right? Here's the best way for you to understand it. Us four, we about to order pizza, right? Now we us
point.
four know we got money, right? Marcus
Mhm.
ass talk about, yeah, get wings and cheese sticks. His ass ain't got
Mhm.
no money. Does his opinion
Right.
count?
Hell no. He ain't
Hell
paying
no,
for
you ain't
shit.
putting in. You ain't putting in
But
for
that's
this nigga.
because he didn't.
Us four is the one that's breaking our pockets. It's the same
That's
thing with
because.
kids.
Listen, I don't listen. That wasn't a good analogy
That
because
was a good
he ain't
analogy.
got
That was a
nothing
great
to do with
analogy.
it.
Hey,
Yeah.
hold on. Everybody say hi to JC Miss. I don't know how to pronounce it. They just subscribed to us. I saw the
Hey,
notification.
what's up,
Hey, how
y'all?
you doing? Greetings, baby.
Greetings.
Okay.
What's up?
Welcome to the channel and introduce yourself.
Oh, don't
state your
put her
name,
on blast
gangster.
now. She just got here.
Who, me?
She just got here.
She
She said,
they
"Gang."
say, yeah.
All right. First
Um.
things first. Let's settle this. Hold on, Christina. Let's settle this. First things first, because we get this mixed up a lot.
Okay.
Male or female? Because I don't want to be saying him or her, and you're not a him or her. Male or female? What you
I
identify
think
as? You
that's
want to
I
be a
think
dog?
I want think
What you
that's
what you think?
I think she's
Female?
female.
As a
I'm
female,
like
I'm going for female
90% sure
too.
she's female.
Okay. I see you, boo boo. Stepping up to the plate.
This is JC, aka Zaza. All right, that's definitely a female. Hi, Zaza. How you doing? Welcome to the channel.
Hey,
You're a little late, but
Zaza.
it's all right though. Confrontation is my expertise, and you about to. You're a female. Yep, you knew it.
I'm a girl.
Now that's it. Joey owe me $5. That's it. Joey owe me $5 because he ain't back.
but but yeah, I don't know. I just think differently. I think as far as
That's
I
because
think
you
as
know what
far
it is? Because
as
you were one of them kids that was allowed to talk, entertain adults. You shouldn't have been. That's why your ass
no, I
think that way.
wasn't. Lauren, and that's a misconception you have about me because sis, I was never allowed in a conversation with a room full of women. I mean a room full of grown people. I was never raised like that. Never.
Nah, you know what it
Mama ain't
is
raised me
though,
like that.
is that when you allow certain kids, like I said, to sit there in adult conversation, no matter what the conversation is about, it puts a certain hair on their chest that they shouldn't grow yet. Like for example, when I was in junior high school, mom, I was sneaky. I would sit there, I'll be
She said I'm a
quiet.
girl.
I'll sit there in the corner while everybody's talking, and I feel like I'm a part of that. Now, one time, my mother got called to school because I sat there. The dean lied on me. Whatever happened, I walked into the classroom. Something happened. The dean they said it was me. It wasn't me. Whatever. That's neither
Mm.
here or there. When we got there, the dean lied on me. The dean was dead
Mhm.
in front of my face while I'm next to my mother, telling lies. Now because I felt like I had that power that
I
I was
bet.
always around adults and everything. Like I felt like I was a little bit older. I'm a little bit more mature. I'm grown now. I sat there and I told this grown man in front of my mother, "You're a fucking liar." You know what she did? She popped me dead in my mouth. Fast too, quick fast. It was like the flash. Wow. She didn't take her
But you
eyes
did
off of him.
because you call him a
She
fucking
didn't.
liar. Shit.
No, but listen. This is what part of that sentence you think she got mad about? Because
Fucking
that was my word.
Did
You're a
you address
fucking
that grown
liar.
ass man? Did you address that
She
grown ass
got
man?
mad. She ain't get mad that I cursed at him. She ain't get mad that. She got mad because I called him a liar. What gave me the right to sit there and call another grown person a
See,
liar?
I disagree with that
Now,
too because
now,
if your child is telling, I mean, did you talk to your mom and let her know like he's not
Yeah, but
telling the
He
not
this
didn't
truth?
was
give
this.
her a
This
this.
was
chance.
this was why he was talking. She didn't sit. I didn't let him finish. She didn't sit there and turn to me and say, "Well, what do you got to say?" For me to sit there and say, "Ma, he's not telling the truth, or he's misunderstanding what happened." I didn't give none of that. He sat there. He was talking, and because I seen adults do it, and I whatever they sat there and they whatever, I sat there and said, "You're a
That's why I
fucking
said
liar,"
certain conversations.
and
You
she
shouldn't have been
sat
in a
there and.
conversation where somebody was
But
like, "You're a
that's
fucking liar."
but that's the thing though. I was in
But that's what I
conversations
explained
that
to
were
you.
basic.
Certain conversations
These
can
weren't
be
they weren't talking about
you
What gave you the right to
you just feel
what made you
privileged.
want to cuss and just call him a
it's
fucking
because
liar?
because I ain't going front. I had that little hair on my chest that made me feel like I was more
That's not
mature.
why, boo. Oh my goodness,
Mm-hmm.
boo.
It
Boo, I
was.
just don't agree with that.
He
I
felt
think
But
that
it
privileged.
so
was.
it's a
But
conversation,
but again,
and
my
not only
daughter.
that, but shit, asking your kid like, what do you think about that, or just having a
My
letting
daughters
them give
know
opinion
when
or
I
like
go to
letting
open
them
school.
form. Go ahead.
My daughters know when I go to
There,
open school,
there, yeah,
they gotta stay shut. They gotta stay shut when I go to open school. You're not gonna talk to those adults. You're not
So
gonna
say
talk to the teacher. When I direct my conversation to my daughter, she tells me what happened. She don't address the teachers at all. You're not to address an adult unless I tell you to
Mm-hmm.
address an adult.
man,
Because
look.
at the end of the day, I'm their parent. I'm going to handle their problems. If my daughter came to me and said, "Dad, this teacher disrespected me," which she did, and I went up to the school and I shut her math teacher down.
I
She didn't
was
have to
gonna
say a
say
word
because did you address it? Cause shit, I know oftentimes when I wanted, I think the reason why my mouth became so is because I felt like I was never how should I say this? I was never
protected.
nobody defended me. I should say that. So like it was always when I grew up, it was always shut up. You have no
But
voice. You have no right to talk. You have no place to talk. You can't be in here. If there was ever
because you're not
an
supposed.
incident involving the school or something
Mm.
like that, there wasn't much of trying to get my side of it. It was more so the
No,
teacher knows
I get
best
my.
and
I,
that sort of
I
thing.
get
So
my.
I think the reason why my mouth became so is because I didn't have a voice. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have a voice. It was very much, you know,
At the end of the day, we as parents are the kid's voice. So if a teacher comes out of pocket with our
Yeah, but
children,
sometimes
we
where Laura went.
we
Now
have
she
to
ain't at work no more.
we have to make sure that we take care of it. I got one of her teachers when
no,
my
I'm in
daughter
my
was in
damn
junior high
house.
school that zoned me out because I was putting her in her place respectfully
Hey,
and without my
let me
daughter
let me ask
saying anything.
JC Matt hey Zaza, let me ask you something. Do you believe in the good old saying a child should be seen and not heard? Let's get your thoughts and views on it. Because we've all heard that saying from our grandparents, our mamas, aunts, everybody. So do you
Yep.
believe
I
that a
was
child should be seen and not heard?
I was raised like that's how I was
Go
raised.
ahead,
I
Joey. I
was
was
raised.
raised
My
like that
parent
too.
my parents used to tell me.
Yes, but
My parents used to tell me all the time. They sat there and said, "Yo, you go outside. I don't care. I don't care what the adult does to you or says to you. You don't disrespect an
and
adult.
she
The minute you
says
disrespect an
Said
adult, you're
yes,
yes, I'm
wrong."
old school. And that's why I said it's them old heads. Them
Uh huh.
but that's the thing. But
But
that's the
look,
thing.
but look,
I'm
but
Boo
just
look
Boo's
at the
not a
replacing
difference in
the
the
Boo Boo's not one of the
generation.
generation,
old
man.
heads. But Boo Boo's not one of the old heads.
We
He's
don't
in
have
your
no cars, don't
generation, and
have
he
it.
believes
I
the
know
same
that,
thing.
but Boo was
Exactly.
raised by the old head.
So is a
I
lot of
was,
kids.
He was
I
raised the
was.
right way.
I was too, Boo Boo. I
You
was
was
too.
too.
Hell, everybody was.
The thing about it
Exactly.
is,
You
like I
just
said,
choosing
I'm my children's
to,
voice.
to
So
deter.
my child comes to
I
me
have listen.
and
You
to
can't be your children's voice, Joey, because your child has their own voice. Like I don't think
no,
it's
they
something
can't.
so
They
bad
can't sit there.
about.
No, no, they cannot talk to the teacher disrespectfully. The teacher comes out of pocket to them. You call me. You call your mother, and we go handle that.
She said
That's
yes.
that.
She was like, I was raised
Mm-hmm.
under that idea, but it wasn't until I got older that I fully understood it. Yes, I'm an '80s baby. Okay, '80s baby, heard you. Um,
Dang.
So
Yeah, we've all been
so
raised under that saying, child should be
and the
seen and not
reason why,
heard.
and when I was younger, I used to hate it, but I understand it now because my daughter, who's 16, she'll come out
Oh, I can.
disrespectful to
I was
people
nosy.
for no
But
reason.
that's not
But
because
she,
she was in
yes,
conversations
yes,
involving
it
adults.
is.
Like
Yes, it is.
you're
No, yes, it
solely
is.
no,
Yes, it is.
no.
Yes, it is. Because
Because
my
you're making it
son,
seem as
because
if
Ashley, who's my older
teenagers
daughter,
don't become
listen,
rebels.
listen,
You're
listen,
making it seem as if
listen,
teenagers
listen,
don't grow
listen,
up and have
listen. But listen, my older daughter, Ashley, is 21 years old. 21.
hmm
And she just came out to me and my sister about certain problems she's been going through for her whole life with her mother and her stepfather because she had the notion that she was supposed to not tell nobody nothing. That's how she was raised. So when you put kids around adult conversations, they feel that they can say what they want at any given time.
that's not true.
Yes, it is because if
That's
I'm
not
disciplining my
true.
listen, if I'm disciplining my 14-year-old, why is my 16-year-old chiming in? I don't need her to discipline my daughter for me. I don't need her to
Your
have an opinion on that.
16-year-old.
Facts.
Yeah,
You don't
I don't
need
need to
your
have an
Yes.
opinion on it.
16-year-old disciplining your 14-year-old.
Yeah, I don't need her to be telling me what I need to say to her. She don't need to have
Yeah.
an opinion on that.
She's 16. I think
She don't
adults
need to
and
say
No,
shit.
parents in
she
general
don't
are
need to
just
say
so.
nothing. She don't need to say nothing.
I
I'm
think
disciplining
once
my
we
child.
start
That's
changing our ways and discipline and like all of this
what's
other
with what's
nonsense
with
that
discipline.
we've
He knows
been,
he can't be in an adult conversation, and that's how he's going to be raised. He's not going to be in an adult conversation. When you pay a bill in my house,
Facts.
then you got an opinion.
Agreed.
That's it.
Agreed. Cause
I
My
I
got
kids
got
know
well.
that.
bills that gotta get paid before you tell me about your motherfucking opinion.
Listen,
Hmm?
my mama taught me all this other stuff, child, and you see where I'm at, and you see where she at. We just, it's crazy. All I'm gonna say
And
is,
the crazy part is my kids, I feel the same way, and I tell my kids the same thing, and they still call me every day. They still want to see me all the time. That doesn't change how I feel about my kids, but that's my opinion. I feel like if you don't pay a bill in my house, you don't have an opinion. You don't have a say so. You can't tell me what to buy in my house, what not to buy in my house, how to decorate my house, what kind of food. You can't tell me that. If
so
you're
what do you
allergic to
then say
something,
when they older?
when they outside my
They can do
house
it
and
in
they
their
pay
own
bills,
house.
they can do that in their own house.
Oh, they'd be like, "Oh, I think you should do this." No,
No,
until you pay a bill
if
in
you
my
don't
house.
pay a
No.
bill, so you pay a bill,
But
and you
then
sit
don't
there and
let
say,
them get a
"Dad,"
job and actually pay a bill. Then your ass gonna be shut for
then
real.
we sit down and
Then
we
your ass gonna
compromise
be
on.
shot up for real.
Then we sit
And
down
Stupid
and we
ass fuck
compromise
around and
on
get a
certain
job and pay a
things.
and you
cable
know,
bill.
and then you know what the parents give them? They give them freeway with their curfew. They
Nah,
say, okay, so
nah,
you got a
never
Nah,
job.
okay.
You can
I
stay
will
out
sit
extra
down.
half
I
an
If
never,
me and
hour.
nah,
my kids are
nah.
paying bills in the house and we're all paying together, we'll sit down and have family meetings of what
See,
needs to
but
be
then
said. Of the ones
you
that's
make it seem as if they have to buy their voice. Like Joey, that's not okay.
It's
that is okay. It's
No,
my
it's
you
house.
can't
not.
It's my
listen.
Then,
You
house.
then what are you really teaching them?
It's my
Oh, as
house.
long as you bringing money
you
into this
think
house,
I'm gonna do
your
one
It's
kids
my
better.
gonna
house.
be in wherever
It
they
doesn't
say.
listen. It doesn't have to
It's
do
my
just with
house.
kids. First and foremost, it doesn't have to. If you living in my house and you're not paying no bill, you don't have an opinion. Kid, grown ass man, grown ass woman. You don't have an
That
opinion
don't
if
mean
you're not
nothing.
paying a bill.
truth be told, the way I look at it,
You just teach. If
whether
you have,
you pay a bill or not, nigga, you ain't got no opinion. Let my kids think they can talk to me however they want. Punch you dead in your chest. And if you feel
Stop,
some
because
type
the
of way,
oppressed
we
becomes
could
the
do that.
oppressor. Don't do that.
At the end of it all,
The
they gotta
oppressed
learn how to
becomes the
respect.
oppressor.
I sit there like it's the truth. Let's be honest. Uncle Ali and all them, they haven't been around my whole life. And let me tell you something. If they curse me out, I'm not gonna curse them out. I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna tell my mother so my mother could deal with
Oh
it.
no, see,
Or my
that's where
mother,
we
you
have an issue
understand?
because I'm
That's
grown.
exactly that's the difference in where the raising
That's
and the
like
teaching
I
is.
just.
I
But
won't
let me
sit
ask
there
you
and
a
There
question,
curse
is
at
Christina.
no
Uncle Ali.
difference, boo boo. We
Hold
was
on,
raised the
hold
exact
on,
same damn way.
hold on,
I
hold
just
on,
have
I
a
don't
Christina. I want to
different
understand
ask you a
how,
question.
because you sit there and you say
it's a
you grown, you
different
gonna
way of
curse them out. I'm
thinking.
not gonna do it.
Listen,
No, I'm
listen,
just
listen,
a
but
person who
listen,
look. I
listen, but
think
listen.
to
I
sit
want to ask you a
in
question. I want to ask you a
actuality,
question, Christina.
y'all look.
I want to ask you a
I'm
question. I
not
want
a
to ask you a question
traditional thinker. That's all I'm gonna
because
say. I'm not a
I asked
traditional
Boo Boo,
thinker.
I asked Boo Boo this question. I want to ask you this
Hmm.
question. If my
Okay.
14-year-old
Hmm.
is at a gathering and Tony,
Okay.
our cousin, who's older than her,
Hmm.
disrespects her and she doesn't say nothing, but she comes to me because my kids are taught to come to me. Tony's older than me, and I go to Denise because that's Denise's brother. Denise, this is what he said to my daughter. Am I wrong for that? For Denise to handle her brother?
Um. Well, you said he was 16, right?
No, I said if my 14-year-old comes to
Yeah.
me, Dad,
Yeah.
this guy said this something to me, and I go to Denise because that's Denise's brother, and this is my respect factor for my
Tony is
elders.
Boo Boo's uncle.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I
Do I
tell
think? Do I
I tell
think?
Denise, and Denise handles it. Was I wrong for
No.
doing that,
I
or was
mean,
I
it's
was supposed to handle
personally
it?
held. No, you should go directly to the brother. What Denise got to do with that?
Because that's her brother, and he's older than me. It's a respect factor. You got to understand, it's a respect factor. It's what the way we was raised. You
Look,
respect the elders, and you go to the elder person
stop
that you
respecting
know.
this elder
Listen,
shit. Like I
don't
get it. We have
don't
to respect our
don't get it
elders. I
twisted.
Yes,
understand that. I
Don't
get that
don't get
part.
it
I
twisted. Cause
understand that
I
part.
could don't get it
I
twisted. Cause
understand
I
that.
could defend myself. I could open my mouth. Like there's been a couple of times, like with Theo Steven. I do it out of respect for the family and everything, and two is for me because I'm the type of person, especially when it comes to family. If I gotta go to a certain mark with you, if I gotta go to a certain place with you, I can no longer deal with you because as family, there's no reason why I should take it that route with you. Like my uncle Steven one time sat there and for my 18th birthday, got pissy drunk, came out of his face, and he was calling my mother a bitch and all types of names. And I gave him plenty of opportunities to stop because the truth be told, and that's my uncle. And he's coming out his face, but at the end of the day, that's my mother. I'm gonna punch him. I was gonna punch him dead in his face, but had I
I
punched him
would
in
have
his
boo boo.
face,
What
there
stopped
was
you?
there was there
I,
was no dealings with me and him again. But at the end of it all, as my mother's child, as being the nephew, I still, even though I was right, I would have been wrong if I'd have punched him in his face because that was not my
you only
dealings.
been you only would have been wrong because that's how you were taught. You were taught that if you do something out of what you're supposed to do or what tradition tells you to do, then you're wrong. I just
So
don't
let
think
me
like that. If
ask you
it was
something. You
my
hold
mother, if
on,
it
put it
was
like
my
this.
mother and Willie or Remy or Kylie was on some shit like that, initially I probably would have just been like, calm down, whatever the case may be. But if shit is escalating, I'm sorry, but I'm not that type
So
of person to just still
let me
have
ask
like,
you.
like fuck that.
If
No.
you have a kid, you have a kid, whether boy or girl, whatever you
If
dream
I
of.
have a kid, it's over.
Listen, you have a kid and they 17 years old, and your mother sits there and calls them a bitch, and your kid smacks your mother. Who's right? Who's wrong?
You said what now? If my kid was
If
to
you have a
slap my
kid,
mother,
if you have a kid, right? Where's my yeah? If you have a kid, 17 years old, and your kid and your mother got into an argument, and your mother said you're acting like a bitch, and your kid smacked your mother, who's wrong?
look, if somebody
exit. Answer
for
the
one,
Who's
answer.
wrong?
my mother
Who's
is
Who's
queen.
wrong?
My
wrong?
mother is
Answer
look,
the
my mother
question.
is
Answer the
queen.
question.
My mother is
Who's
queen.
wrong?
No
Who's
man,
wrong?
no child, no boy or girl
Who's
will
wrong though?
ever.
Who's
Not
wrong?
in my
That's not the
presence.
question. Who's wrong?
Your kid, right? I'll give you another one. Your brother sits there
Uh-uh.
and he gets into an argument with your kid and says, you acting like a little bitch. And your kid smacks your brother. Who's wrong?
I mean, if they the same age, let them go at it. But
No,
if my brother, it's my
your
brother. My
brother is
brother should be
older.
responsible.
Your
And my
brother's
mother
wrong.
is in the wrong for calling
So your
her
kid got the right to.
my child a
So your
bitch.
kid got the
Yeah.
right to hit. So your kid got the right to hit your brother.
Yeah.
No, no.
Yeah. Listen, my
See,
mother
I
ain't
feel
got
like
look, my
yo,
mother
I feel like
See,
you
I
only
know
saying
my
that to
brother. My
defend
brother would
yo.
not do that. So it's kind of hard for me
but, but,
to
but, but no,
answer
no.
that
It's a
question.
hypothetical
I
situation.
know my
But
brother.
see,
My brother would not do that.
all
My
right. So
brother would not do that.
I'm gonna give you an
But
example.
my mother, on the other hand, she'll probably do some shit like that.
Give you an
But
example.
no, my mother was
You
wrong
have
for
a
calling. My mother was wrong for calling my child a bitch. However, my child should not have laid hands on my mother.
so
So they're both
Therefore,
in
your
the
child.
wrong.
regardless of the situation, your
They're both
child
in the
is
wrong. My
no, 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 no,
mother
no,
got
no.
hers for when my kid
No,
punched her,
Okay,
and
okay,
now
they're
she
but
both
gonna
wrong.
get
your
this.
kid,
But your
okay,
child
but
should
My
have came to
mother.
you.
your child should have
Your
came to
your child
you,
should have came to you first,
to
right?
you. Said,
My
"Ma,
child should have came to
grandma
me
called me.
and told
Grandma
me and
called
let me
me
know.
such, such,
True
such,
enough.
such."
In certain situations, yeah.
To make
Especially when it
that
comes
child
down
to
to
be,
family. Especially
if
when
the
it comes
child
down
wants
to
to be,
family.
if the child wants to be right, the child has to do the right things. If you're the parent
Mhm.
and your mother, an elder person in this family, disrespects them, coming to you is the right thing to do. Not reacting the way the person reacted. Slapping somebody doesn't solve anything.
They both got
Because what?
theirs. That's all I can say about
But
that
what
shit.
if
My
you
mother ain't
know
had
your
no
mother?
duty to.
Hold on, but you know your mother, and I know your mother. She would have slapped fire back out. She would have slapped the shit out the child right back.
No, my mother would have definitely slapped fire and skin off of that damn child. I wouldn't have had
But
to say
now,
much. My mother
but
is
but
very
now,
heavy handed.
yeah.
Still
But the
is to this
problem
day.
is, all that could have been avoided,
If my
and
mama
you could
didn't
have
call my
told,
child a bitch. No.
and you
My
could,
mama should call
and
my child a bitch.
you,
No.
it could all been avoided if
I
you
would have
go
not said
to your
anything.
mother. If your child would have went to you and told you, "Ma, this is what grandma called me." You go to your mother, "Ma, you know you was
Oh
wrong for
yes, I'm
calling
walking
them.
to my mother, let her know, like, listen, sis, that's
You
not
was
what you
wrong
do.
for them.
You don't call my
You
child a
know
bitch.
you was wrong." But if your child reacts, your child is wrong. Automatically, your child is wrong if your child reacts.
If my child reacts, it was done as
Your
good
child
as
is wrong.
kitchen. All
No,
I'm
your child
saying
is
is,
wrong.
grandma
Automatically,
ain't
your
nothing to
child
play
is
with.
wrong.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Listen,
Grandma
I
ain't
Your
thought
nothing to
child is
play
wrong.
with. Grandma
I
is
Listen,
not
think
nothing
the
to play with.
scenario y'all did was
my
wrong.
kids,
Let
and
me
I'm
Listen,
gonna
tell
tell
you.
you an
okay,
example.
grandma, go ahead.
I'm gonna tell you an
Grandma is
example.
nothing to.
I
Do you
have
see
five
that?
kids. I have five
Listen,
children.
Do you see that?
All my
Grandma
kids,
is nothing to play
when it
with.
when it comes to Laura, they could talk. They'll talk to whoever. But when it comes to Laura, and God rest Olga's soul, Olga, they don't
That's my baby.
say a
Oh, that was.
word.
Oh my god.
They don't say a word. If Laura told Monty to shut the fuck up, excuse my language, she's gonna do that.
Yeah.
She's gonna do it. She's gonna sit there and do it.
and
If she
FYI,
told
I've done it
us,
many times.
you know, and they do it. It's not the fact that they don't have an opinion. It's the fact that they know she's older
But I
and she
mean,
will
she
slap
could
fire out
switch
them.
up how she talks to the child. Like, she ain't got to be like, shut the fuck up.
When you
Like,
tell a kid be
come on,
quiet
you ain't
numerous
got to
times,
talk
First
to
of
a
all,
you
kid
tell a
in that
child
manner
be
or in
quiet
that
numerous
way.
right.
Like,
First of
times.
all, first of all, first of all,
it's
first of all.
certain ways you can talk
No,
and
first of all, first of all,
communicate
first of all, first of all, first of all.
without having to do all of that.
No. First of all, I've been talking to
Especially
them
if the
like that
child
since
is
they were
yours.
baby kids.
Malachi, come here.
I've been talking to them that since like that since they were baby kids. I talk to all
Olga
my
was known.
That's not
excuse me,
how
nieces
it's
and nephews
supposed to be.
equally.
But okay, Laura,
Olga was known
you
as
ain't
the
got no
warden.
business talking to no kid like that. But okay. Because it
Olga
has
was called
very
the
little thing
warden.
to do with them being in a
Walked
grown
in
up
their house and told
conversation,
them to
right? And
wash
not
their ass.
how you talk
You
to
don't
them
know
and
my
how you
life.
communicate with them. But it has every little
Yo,
thing to do with
they
them being in the
scammed
presence of a group
Rich.
of adults
May
that are
Rich
talking
rest in
about some
peace.
stuff.
No, they scammed Rich.
Mm-hmm.
Them
They
three,
scammed Rich.
they they
What?
scammed Rich.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Laura, ain't nobody tell me this. What?
They called me and said, "Dad, I need money
Oh
because
my
can I spend my
God.
Christmas money? Because this is what Maya called me. Can I spend my Christmas money because we ate all the turkey and the cheese?" Now, mind you,
That was
Laura
the day
had
before.
they had all the kids except for Ashley,
Mhm.
Carlos, Monty, Maya, and this little one. They had all of them.
Mm.
They go and tell Rich they're going to the store. Rich goes, go ahead. Who asked?
Hmm.
Monty asked. No, Maya asked. But
Mhm.
Carlos or somebody went to the
No,
store with Maya's money.
they did not ask. They told him they was going to the store.
They told
He
him.
said, "For what?" And they told him, and then he said, "For what?" And then he let them go to the store.
When Laura asked them, who did you ask to go to the store? They said, Rich said we can go to the store and get this stuff. Threw
Mhm.
him under the bus.
Did they not ask
No, because
him?
they finished their money.
No, they didn't ask him.
Mm.
They
So
told
they
him.
never asked Rich to
They
go to the
told him.
store.
No, they told
No,
him.
they said, "Rich, we
So
going to
they
the
like,
store."
I'm finna go to the store,
And he was
and
like,
he's
"For
like,
what?"
okay, that's cool.
No, but that's not asking. That's not a question.
So they
I'm
never
going to the
brought up going to
stores.
the store to him at all.
No, they said we need turkey or something, and we're going to the
No.
store. That's not asking.
And then they scammed Maya
That's
out of her
that
money.
problem I be having with you adults. If I'm saying I'm going somewhere, if I'm asking, it's no difference. Like,
Yes, it is. It's a
I
No,
difference.
don't
The
know.
statement
I
and the
don't
no.
know.
question
Listen,
is a
Yes, it
difference.
is.
If
let me
you're
tell you
like,
something.
I'm going,
Listen, let me explain to you the difference. Listen, let me explain to you the difference,
I
Christina.
don't know.
I'm going
I
to the
just think it's
store.
up for your own interpretation
Listen,
and how
listen.
you perceive things.
That's not how
When you
the.
ask them, can you go to the store? You're not ready to go to the store. You ask them before you get ready, because you're not gonna get ready if you can't go, right? So they ate
Okay.
up all the sauce, the meat. They ate up all the meat. They wanted more time. And mind you, I bought the shit the day before, so I want you to understand that it wasn't like the meat was 6 months old and we hadn't even know. I bought the shit when they came to my house. They ate it all up.
Yeah.
So they decided, and they ate it up in one sitting because they greedy. They decided they want. They convinced Maya
To spend
to
her
spend
money.
her money because she won the most money from Ricky's. They convinced Maya to spend her money so they could get sandwich meat and stuff for the store. They told Rich there's no more turkey. Rich said, "Well, you gotta
Mhm.
wait for your aunt to come home." They said, "Okay." Monty got up, said she's going to the store because she wanted a butter roll or bagel or whatever it was she wanted. So Rich said, "You have money for that?" And she said, "Yeah." And then Carlos turned around and said, he was going to the store too. So they took Maya's money and went to the store. And what happened is I came back. Maya wanted something. When I came home from work, Maya wanted something, and she was like, she doesn't have any money because Monty and Carlos spent her money on food.
Mm.
So
And
I
they blamed
asked who told
Rich.
them to go to the store because I think the night before they had asked me about going to the store, and I said no, you have no reason to go to the store. And I bought the sandwich. I think I said Carlos for the sandwich, whatever it was, and then they came
Yeah.
home. So they had already been told they don't need to go to the store and spend their money. But they decided they want to do it, and because I wasn't there to regulate, Rich was there. They went to the store, and then when I came back in, I was like, "Who the fuck told you to go to the fucking store?" Because I told your asses you didn't need to go to the store. And then instead of them
Mm.
saying, "Well, Titi, we just told Rich we were going to the store," they ain't say that. They blame Rich. And I made
Yeah.
their asses all get in the fucking bed. And I
Yeah,
said,
they
"This ain't fair.
blamed Rich.
Get your asses in the bed.
They blamed him.
Get your
Laura
fucking asses
argued
in the
with
bed."
Rich and told him to go into bed because she said she told them not think, and they knew that
Poor
because he.
Rich.
Okay, whatever.
Poor Rich.
Right. Poor
If I
Rich.
was Rich, you know what I would have done to them niggas? Every time. Rich, can I have some cereal? You better go ask Titi. But she's
Oh
at work. Well,
no,
wait till she get home.
no. Let me tell
Them
you something.
them
Rich
niggas would have been
grew some.
starving.
Listen,
I'd
No,
have cut
they
off
was
the hot
tired.
water and all
From what I
that.
heard, Laura said Rich grew some, and they wasn't getting shit from Rich like that.
yo, he wouldn't let them go. They was like, "Can we eat?" Nope. Yo, he was mad. One time, I told the three of them, same three, probably the same week. I said, when we was going out, and I wanted to go out or whatever. And I was like, when I get home, y'all better wash your asses because they didn't take a shower that night. They came home and they went to sleep. So I was like, y'all better get up and take your ass and wash your asses. I got home and I flipped the wig. Rich was like, I don't know how. I was like, y'all pussy stink in this fucking yo. I was going off because they sat there all fucking day. I was
They
at
take a
work
shower.
8 fucking hours and 2 hours in travel, and these
Mm.
motherfuckers 10 hours. They up there worried about playing a fucking game. Worried bored. I don't have nothing to do. Worried about being on their phone, and they watch they stink asses. I went the fuck off.
This
I
is
walked in
why
that
I
house. I was
say,
like, Pete. I was like, you nasty. Your pussy stink. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I went off. And I'm maybe listen.
and
I'm
not
not orthodox. I'm not
That
gonna
ain't,
say
but
that
that
I'm not orthodox with the way I talk to kids. I'm not gonna say that, but I talk to the kids the way I how I talk, and that was what was on my head because I feel like kids that want to be grown. Hold on, let me get off my camera.
we ready to see your
I feel
face.
like
I
kids
was
that
gonna
want to be
say, girl, where you
grown.
at?
I was eating. I was hungry.
What you ate?
I
Where you
had to
got some
bust down my
from?
food. I had to come in here, wash my hands, and bust down my food,
Hmm.
huh?
What you ate?
Oh, I went. We did a movie detail, so I had noodles and fried shrimp. The shrimps was good.
you say you did a movie.
I
Did
was on the
so?
phone
What
with y'all when I
movie?
got my food. I went and
What movie was that doing? What they doing over
Evil.
there?
Evil. Oh,
All right.
That is. But
it's
Luke
on
Cage was
Netflix.
in it. One of the guys took a picture with him.
Mm.
I did Blue Bloods last week Thursday. I'll be on this Monday. So I know I'm not orthodox the way I talk to the kids. I'm not fully percent 100% sure I'm not. However, I do feel like at the end of the day, I'm gonna speak the way I speak. I talk to them the way I talk to them because I feel like, you know, there's Olga was the nice one. Like Olga was the one that would be like, no, listen, yada yada. I was more like, nah, what the fuck it
Well,
is.
Olga. Well,
And
Olga,
then
when
it
she
was
got
only
mad,
And for
it
those of
was
you
over.
who are still
yeah.
tuned in, this is very, very, very true.
Yeah.
Uh,
But kids need that
But you know
balance
that,
though.
like, I
Let
never
me tell you
came from
something.
that talk
Kids
to me
need that
balance.
balance.
Like what
no,
his
Listen, all
like.
my nieces and
but
nephews
you
love
when you
me.
say balance, what do they need a balance of? How you are
My
supposed to be talked to versus
Cause
how
If
careless
you're if
you
you
can
want to
Let me
be
tell
cause
you,
I'm
grown,
I
you
I'm
got
gotta
I'm
learn how to
judging
get
I'm
bad
you
judging
boys.
gotta get
I'm judging
if you,
off of my raising, off of my lifestyle. I had a well balanced raising. Like my mother was the stern one. My mother was the one. Like if it was up to my mother, half my life I'll be punished. You know,
hold on, you're
and my
right.
mother
Mhm.
and my mother was the one that installed in me, or for her lessons, and installed in me that with your actions come consequences, and you got to face them. My father was the one that explained to me why my actions were wrong and how I could go another way. That's why now, before I do things, I think about it. Like, is there another way to go about this? If there is, then I go about it. If there isn't, then I'm gonna deal with my consequences. You understand? Like, and I grew up with a raising where I had cousins who worked hard in school, who had a good head on their shoulders, and they, you know, you could tell they were going to be successful. And I had cousins that loved the streets, and I grew up around in between both of that, where I was like, okay, you know, this is like I seen both aspects of two different type of lives, and it's like that's to me that's a well complete balance because it's like when you tell a child, "Oh, don't do this because this is how it's going to be. Don't do this because this is how you're going to be. Don't do this because you're going to end up like that," and that's all they get at the end of the day. 9 times out of 10, when you growing up, you're just hearing that, "Oh, don't do this because this is bad." But when you see it being done, it seems like it's fun. So
Yeah.
you know, so then you end up 9 times out of 10 they shift over to that side and can't get out of it. You understand? Like I had it where, oh, don't try to be like that because you know it's not always good. Where my cousins were, they were doing whatever they want to do, however they wanted to do, whenever they wanted to do, when they wanted to do it. But the consequences was going to jail.
Yeah.
or serious consequences. And I realized, and I also seen what I could miss out on. You understand? Like everybody, like I just feel like there's always a like to be stern and soft. Like you need that stern and softness to balance out the raising on kids and the lessons. Because if you got two stern parents, then you get a kid that pulls away. If you get two soft parents, then you get a kid that just runs over.
Runs you
But if you get
over.
yeah, if you get a stern parent and you get a soft hearted parent, then that is like a balance. It's like like what they say, it takes a village to raise a child.
My mother and my stepfather was the
you
same
know,
way. My mom's was the very stern. If it was up to her, we'll all live on punishment for the rest of our lives. We'll never go outside, do nothing.
or for
My
anything,
stepfather was
basic shit.
my stepfather was what do you call him, Laura? The bad kid advocate.
Oh, the bad kid advocate. Yo,
It
This is
didn't
my
matter
Tito don't
what you
play no
did.
games.
my
It didn't matter.
when I was younger, I
You could
wanted
just like
Jordans.
him. He would get mad.
When
Yeah.
when I was younger, I wanted Jordans. I was fiending for Jordans. Jordans. My birthday came around. I got $100. Went. My mother said, "What do you want?" Jordans. I want Jordans. Pair of Jordans. So she got me a pair of Jordans. You know what she did after that? After she bought me my pair of Jordans, she took me past every toy store. And back then, this is when Toys R Us was big, so toy stores was all over the place. She took me past every toy store. Ma, I want this Power Ranger. Up, you ain't got no more money. Ma, I want this Ninja Turtle. You ain't got no more money. I want this. I want that. You ain't got no more money. My father was mad about it because
Yeah.
my father was like, no, But I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson because I just thought my mother was just being an asshole. But my father told me, like, you gotta, if you want, it's not always on. That lesson was, it's not just on fashion because clothes come and go. You want toys, you get toys.
Yeah.
Don't worry
You
about
want
that, whatever.
toys. Yeah.
But you need a well balance for kids, and like I said, stern to have a stern individual and a soft individual is a great
Well,
balance
my mama was
to
both.
me.
My mama had her stern days and she had her damn soft days. That's all I could really say about
Let me
that.
tell you, I'm about to get off of this phone
Hmm.
because I gotta go to bed. I got work in the morning. It's already 11 o'clock. Y'all been talking for hours now. We like
We've
four
been
hours
talking
We,
for
in, but we
hours
started at
in here.
7.
Your ass been involved
hmm
too.
Yeah.
Hmm. But
hmm
she is right. We
Let me
started
tell
at
you, you got
seven
no proof of
o'clock,
that. You ain't see me
so
on
it's
this.
about to be 11:30. But oh,
We 4 hours in, and if this was a Friday, I'll be okay with it. But I gotta wake up and go to work tomorrow. So I
mm-hmm.
love
I
y'all.
had to do the same thing.
Later,
hmm
I had
house
to go to
number
work.
3. Y'all
All
have a good
right,
time.
y'all.
What's the next thing? Since
See you
we're
guys.
done with Black Mirror, so what is the next
I
So
show
think we
we
that'll
should
gonna
be
go
something
for
watch?
we
100.
actually conversate about tomorrow.
I I
Friday
say the
is.
100,
Oh God.
but
I
we'll talk
second the
about it
100.
tomorrow.
Oh
I
We'll
God.
talk
second the
about it
100.
tomorrow.
Oh
We'll talk
God.
about it tomorrow. Good
All
night,
right.
Yeah, we'll
guys.
talk.
Good
We'll
night.
talk more about it
And
tomorrow.
Good
bye,
night.
Zaza. Thank you for tuning in, Zaza.
Yes, Zaza.
Yes.
Talk to
Welcome
y'all
to the
later.
Oh, it
channel,
was
See you
lady.
somebody else.
mañana.
It was somebody with the Earth 19.
Oh, we gonna get to them
Yeah.
later. Everybody that
Okay.
tuned in,
Well,
thank y'all for tuning in. Laura
okay.
messed
Y'all
us up,
catch us
but it's all right,
next
boo.
week.
I did the same thing last week. I cut
Yeah.
y'all off.
It's okay.
All the way off.
Have a
You
good
Good
was
night,
night.
guys. I'll
annoying.
talk to y'all
Good
later.
night.
All
Talk
Good
to
right.
y'all
night.
later.
Love
Catch
y'all.
us next Thursday
Good
at
Later.
the
night.
same time, 7 o'clock next Thursday.
Yes,